3 dots of light had appeared within Long Chen's eyes, the exact same as Bai Xiaola's eyes. How can he have the 3 flower pupils as well? Bai Zhantong was filled with disbelief. The 3 flower pupils are an innate divine ability. Other than a primal, it's impossible to acquire this ability. Long Chen isn't a primal, nor has he cultivated pupil arts. He is most likely manifesting the 3 flower pupils based on Xiaola, said Bai Xiaola's mother. The 3 dots of light slowly spun in Long Chen's eyes, while Bai Xiaola's eyes, which were the original, were slowly affected. After an hour, those lights in Bai Xiaola's eyes gradually came under Long Chen's control. Seeing this, Bai Zhantong shuddered. Bai Xiaola's mother held his hand, smiling. Suddenly, the 3 dots in Long Chen's layered together, forming a 3-flower image. Bai Xiaola's eyes did the same. His aura grew explosively, and space started twisting. Luo Bing and the others felt the world spinning around them, as if heaven and earth had been inverted. When the spatial twisting stopped, Bai Xiaola was lying on the ground, asleep. The moment that he fell, the 3-flower design in Long Chen's eyes suddenly transformed from white to black. In that moment, Bai Xiaola's mother's expression changed. Forming one-handed seals, a mirror appeared in front of Long Chen. That mirror had only just appeared when 2 rays of black light shot out of Long Chen's eyes. The black rays reflected off of the mirror and into the roof. A 3-meter-thick hole silently appeared in the roof. The hole was perfectly round and smooth, as if someone had meticulously carved it and polished it. Everyone felt a chill. If that was the result of some explosion, perhaps it wouldn't be so chilling. But the fact that this hole just silently appeared with a flash of light was a bizarre feeling. As for the spatial mirror that Bai Xiaola's mother had condensed, a black hole was left charred into it. The spatial mirror slowly collapsed and vanished, as if nothing had happened. But the hole remaining in the roof still gave people chills. Does the 3-flower pupil have such a divine ability? Asked Bai Zhantong. No, this isn't the power of the 3-flower pupil. The 3-flower pupil only has spatial energy. It has no destructive power, said Bai Xiaola's mother. At this moment, Long Chen's eyes were closed, and he wasn't saying a word. A sharp pain made it impossible for him to open his eyes. The 3-flower pupils were no secret. Many books had records of them, as well as how to use them. Using the 9-star He Gem body art as the foundation, he had also managed to condense the 3-flower pupils. However, once he managed to condense them, black energy deep inside his eyes instantly poured through the 3-flower pupils, destroying them. At the same time, power leaked out. That power was what Bai Xiaola's mother had blocked. That black energy was something he had felt before. In the final battle of the Martial Heaven continent, he had used it to wipe out the final 9 underworld hunter, and then following his power backwards, he had witnessed Lord Brahma. Later, he was saved by the dragon expert, and only then did he learn that this power was called the Purgatory Eyes. The dragon expert had sealed this power for him. However, this seal was temporary. It could not be maintained forever. The longer it was sealed, the more berserk this power would grow. It would eventually devour his mind. Every time he was angered, this dark energy would start to grow active. He found it harder and harder to control his emotions. The desire to kill also grew stronger. When he encountered Bai Xiaola, he had thought to himself that if he could learn eye techniques, it might be possible to unleash this black energy. However, he hadn't expected this black energy to be so berserk that as soon as he condensed the 3-flower pupils, it would destroy them. He hadn't even had a chance to control it before it was over. After a long time, Long Chen finally opened his eyes. His eyes were scarlet with red lines filling them. It was a bit frightening. Brat. Thank you. Bai Zhantong spit out some thanks. Long Chen looked at Bai Zhantong. Bai Zhantong shook his head. You don't need to be emotional that you cry over my thanks. Bastard. Long Chen cursed. How was this from emotion? These involuntary tears were from the pain in his eyes. Bai Zhantong laughed. It seemed he was very pleased with Long Chen's teary appearance. Long Chen rubbed his eyes and circulated the primal chaos space energy to recover. However, he found that for some reason, the primal chaos space's energy was unable to heal this wound. Xiaola's mother didn't know if she was supposed to laugh when she saw Long Chen's state that was like a kitten pawing its head. She was barely able to control herself and said, "Long Chen, many thanks. Now that Xiaola's 3 flower pupils have been activated, they will start merging with his bloodline. In the future, he can cultivate himself. You've helped us resolve this problem which has plagued our hearts for many years. Truly, many thanks." It had to be known that every time she saw Bai Zhantong beating Bai Xiaola, her heart shattered. Now that he could cultivate himself, she felt that even if she had to die, it was worth it. She bowed deeply to Long Chen. Long Chen hastily stopped her. He couldn't receive such courtesy. "Senior, Xiaola has recognized me as boss. I naturally have to treat him as a brother. When my brother is in trouble, as his boss, I naturally must help. Unlike some people, I won't randomly shout and fail to do anything proper." Curiously, Bai Zhantong smiled despite knowing that Long Chen was talking about him. Long Chen investigated Bai Xiaola's state and found that it had gone as he had expected. Nothing was wrong with him, putting him at ease. Long Chen suddenly noticed that at some point, Bai Shishir had also arrived. But she was standing at the very rear. "Shishir, since you've come, shouldn't you greet your father and mother?" The other woman beside Bai Zhantong beckoned. "All I know is that I have a mother. As for a father, well, it doesn't matter. Your daughter will be returning to her cultivation." Bai Shishir bowed to the woman, but didn't even glance at Bai Zhantong. Great minds truly think alive. This father of yours really is useless. Why don't you take me as your dash?" started Long Chen. "Scram." Bai Shishir instantly frowned and spit out a single word. "Let me finish. You should take me as your boss. I'll help you stand tall in the future," finished Long Chen. "Scram." Bai Shishir once more spit out a single word before leaving. However, just as she reached the exit, she suddenly paused. "Thank you for your medicinal pills. I will return this favor." After that, she left. Looking in the direction that she went, then looking at Long Chen, Bai Shishir's mother smiled a strange smile. With Bai Xiaola's problem resolved, Bai Zhantong and his wife felt a heavy weight fall off their shoulders. However, Bai Xiaola was still in slumber and couldn't be disturbed. Only when he woke naturally would they know the exact situation. Hence, Long Chen returned to the Divine Scripture Pavilion. When Bai Xiaola woke up on the 3rd day, the 3 flower pupils were finally fully manifested within his eyes. After awakening, Bai Xiaola seemed to have been enlightened. He was constantly forming hand seals and summoning one spatial art after another. Bai Xiaola asked Luo Bing, Luo Ning, Mu Qingyun, and the others to exchange blows with him. They were shocked to find that after awakening the 3 flower pupils, Bai Xiaola's divine abilities were practically heaven-defying. With a single look, space was torn apart. Hence, they hastily called a stop to the fight, afraid that he might accidentally kill them. Based on Luo Bing's calculation, when Bai Xiaola fully mastered his eye arts, his combat power might not be much lower than Bai Shishir's. After awakening the 3 flower pupils, Bai Xiaola went on a rampage, challenging everyone to a battle to test out his new abilities. But it wasn't more than a few days before someone beat him black and blue, and he came crying to Long Chen. When Long Chen asked him what had happened, he had an urge to slap him. Bai Xiaola really thought that he was unrivaled after awakening the 3 flower pupils. He actually went to find Bai Zhantong for revenge. As a result, he was given another beating quickly and easily. Long Chen couldn't be bothered to deal with that. He had spent these days memorizing everything he could in the Divine Scripture Pavilion. He had a splitting headache and needed to digest this new information. After 2 days, his headache diminished, and after a few days of calmness, his aura stabilized. After thinking about it, he decided that he should raise his realm again. That way, he could raise his realm and then stabilize it while reading books. However, on the next day, Bai Xiaola returned to him. He was truly tenacious. After being beaten so badly by his father, he refused to give up and challenged his father again. Of course, the result was just as miserable as the last time. "Boss, you have to help me get revenge. He's too arrogant. He said that even if we joined together, we wouldn't be able to overcome a single finger from him. How can we endure such a thing?" cried out Bai Xiaola. Long Chen suddenly had a thought. He said, "Go ask your father if he dares to have a fight where he doesn't use his realm to suppress others, and we all purely use your physical bodies and fighting skills." "All right." Bai Xiaola was delighted and immediately ran off. He returned just a short moment later. "Boss, that arrogant fellow said that no matter what kind of method we use, he'll accept." Hearing that, Long Chen was delighted. He had precisely been thinking about a problem that he couldn't resolve normally. Now it was perfect. "Let's go." "Ah, wait a moment, I'm changing clothes." After 2 hours, Long Chen and Bai Xiaola returned with battered faces. Long Chen's chest even had specks of blood on it, and the clothes he had switched into were destroyed. One of Bai Xiaola's eyes was swollen shut, and his mouth was deformed. But his chest was sticking up as if he had won. Seeing the two of them in this state, Luo Bing and the others jumped in shock. Just who was able to beat Long Chen considering how strong he was? Boss really is the boss. We ended up in a draw this time. Next time, we'll definitely have the advantage. Bai Xiaola cried out excitedly. When Luo Bing and the others heard their stories, they were shocked. Only then did they learn that the two of them had gone to challenge the master of the Battle God Palace. 2 against 1, they had still been beaten. Bai Xiaola really knew how to cause trouble. How did he even get someone as smart as Long Chen drawn into this mess? That was the master of the Battle God Palace, someone at the peak of the academy. Long Chen and Bai Xiaola had challenged him to a fight? Were they not asking for a beating? Those two brats. Bai Zhantong spat out some blood, cursing. He sat alone at the top of a mountain, which was now a complete mess from their battle. He had 2 large lumps on his head, and his lips were split open. Moreover, his nose was still bleeding. His state was just as bad as Long Chen and Bai Xiaola's. If the Battle God Palace's experts were to see this, they definitely wouldn't believe it. The undefeatable existence in their hearts had actually been turned into this state. Haha. Just at this moment, 2 beautiful women walked over. They were Bai Xiaola and Bai Shishir's mothers. Our mighty palace master was actually beaten into this state by 2 babies. That would definitely cause quite a few people to collapse if they learned of it, laughed Bai Xiaola's mother. Bai Zhantong glared at her. Wasn't it all your idea? I only ended up like this because I suppressed my cultivation base. Wasn't this very fair? You cultivate the heavenly Vajra unbreaking body. Even if you suppress your cultivation base, you should be far stronger than 2 amateurs in the divine flame realm, said Bai Shishir's mother, also laughing. That Long Chen is a monster. His power is immense. But most hateful of all, when he attacks, a trace of his divine flame power leaks out, ruining my defenses. That wasn't fair at all. Raged Bai Zhantong. He's been rapidly increasing his cultivation base, so he can't stop his divine flame energy from leaking. It's the result of a lack of control, not intentional. Didn't he gradually manage to control it in the end so that it stopped leaking? Don't get angry. Long Chen helped Bai Xiaola activate his 3 flower pupils, so you no longer need to use such violent means to store energy in his body. We owe him a huge debt. Long Chen wants to rapidly increase his realm, and by sparring with him, you're helping him consolidate his realm much faster. It can count as returning the favor. Bai Xiaola also needs more combat experience after awakening his eye arts since Long Chen wants to bring him to the 9 prefecture convention. Helping him get stronger is helping your son. What, are you not happy about that? Demanded Bai Xiaola's mother. Of course I'm happy with that. But that bastard Long Chen's fighting style is completely sinister. It's completely against the norm. There were several times when I even misjudged his moves. It really pisses me off, cursed Bai Zhantong. He had never encountered such a difficult opponent. Close-range combat was his specialty, but he hadn't expected to encounter an entirely new fighting style in Long Chen. Adding on Bai Xiaola interfering with his eye arts, Bai Zhantong ended up falling for their tricks several times, infuriating him. If you have to suffer a bit, then just endure it. Why quibble with children? One is your own son, while the other is your future son-in-law, said Bai Shishir's mother profoundly. What? That bastard dares to have intentions on my daughter. I'll kill him. Every few days, Long Chen and Bai Xiaola would go to challenge Bai Zhantong. This master of the Battle God Palace truly had unimaginable power. Long Chen was also aware that Bai Zhantong did this to help him and Bai Xiaola grow stronger. However, no one bothered directly saying it, instead keeping up the pretense of revenge for Bai Xiaola. To be able to fight against a terrifying expert like Bai Zhantong, even if he was suppressing his cultivation base, just his gaze and aura were enough to give Long Chen immense mental and spiritual pressure. Exchanging blows with him allowed Long Chen's divine flame energy to quickly grow more solid. Hence, Long Chen only consumed pills and fought. In just 5 days, he advanced 2 heaven stages, reaching the 7th heaven stage of the Divine Flame Realm. That was the late Divine Flame Realm. Every star now had 7 clumps of flames. And as his cultivation base grew, his physical body also rapidly strengthened, which resulted in Bai Zhantong finding it harder and harder to fight him. Moreover, Long Chen's fighting moves were treacherous, and even Bai Zhantong would suffer if he slipped up. That was especially the case with his own son, Bai Xiaola, working against him. He had no choice but to secretly circulate his bloodline power to block Long Chen's attacks. Long Chen needed to use Bai Zhantong's power to temper himself, which allowed his aura to rapidly condense so that he could make a breakthrough to the next realm. Time slipped by quickly. 1 month passed just like this. Long Chen's cultivation base had reached the 9th heaven stage, but he didn't encounter any barrier. He now confirmed that his divine flame realm would also have 13 heaven stages as always. After reaching the peak of the 9th heaven stage, he ran out of medicinal pills. From the 8th to 9th heaven stage, he had consumed over 30,000 divine whisker flame spirit pills. Over 500 of those had been treasure pills. Without enough medicinal pills, Long Chen temporarily stopped cultivating and continued fighting with Bai Zhantong, stabilizing his realm. With a single punch, divine flames raged, and even Bai Zhantong had to be careful against him. Bai Xiaola was also very powerful now. His spatial arts were well practiced. Long Chen even taught him a few treacherous tricks that made Bai Zhantong suffer several times. At that time, he cursed them furiously. But inside, he was delighted. Seeing his son advancing every day made him ecstatic. As for Bai Xiaola, he had gotten revenge and was more excited than anyone. Furthermore, he was improving daily thanks to the experience of fighting alongside Long Chen, a monster with immense combat experience. During this time, Bai Xiaola also went to challenge Bai Shishir. However, Bai Shishir ignored him. That made him grow even more arrogant and think that she was afraid of him. He swaggered through the roads. The 9 Prefecture Convention was still half a month away. And at this moment, Long Chen and Bai Xiaola finally stopped challenging Bai Zhantong. Long Chen needed to think. It had almost been a year since he had arrived in the High Firmament Academy. During this year, it felt like he had gained a great deal. But it also felt like he had gained nothing at all. He walked over to the entrance of the academy. Thinking of his state when he first joined the academy, he was filled with various emotions. I wonder how everyone is? Are they doing well? Standing at that gate, Long Chen looked at the endless mountain ranges around him and couldn't help feeling mournful. Everyone had been apart for so long. They were his greatest support, but he didn't even have any news about them. Meng Qi, Chu Yang, Wana, Mingyu, Ziyan, Jiqiu, Xiaoqian, Ruyan, Cloud, Gu Yang, Li Qi, Mingyuan, Zifeng, Xiachen, Guoran, Wild, Emonian. Long Chen muttered their names. Their faces appeared in his mind, and he was lost in sentiment. He also thought of the netherworld's Leng Yuan and Ming Cangyue, as well as the pill fairy who had died for him. Long Chen suddenly felt like he had far too many things he needed to do. All of these things were connected together. Right now, his first priority was to spread his name through the 9 Prefecture Convention. The name of Boss Long San would shake the entire immortal world, and he trusted that they would find ways to gather with him once they received word of him. Although he had made many friends in the High Firmament Academy, he still felt lonely. He wanted to see them. Suddenly, the sound of a broom sweeping drew him out of his emotions. He once more saw the sweeping elder. "Senior, what a coincidence." Long Chen hastily went over and greeted him. The sweeping elder smiled and stopped his actions. "Youngster, are you homesick?" Yes. Very much so. Longchen nodded. The elder said, "It seems that you've made your preparations to welcome even greater challenges." "Yes, I'm prepared. With them present, I have unlimited confidence," said Longchen. For some reason, when Longchen faced this mysterious elder, he felt a rare sense of ease and a strange sense of confidence. Longchen didn't need to conceal anything in front of him. "Senior, let me help you." Longchen reached his hand out for the broom. Last time, the elder had refused him, saying that he wasn't qualified to sweep. "With your current mental realm, it seems that you can try it?" Unexpectedly, the elder smiled and handed the broom to him. When he received the broom, he found that it seemed to be made of ordinary wood and grass. However, this elder had clearly been using it for a long time, and there was zero wear and tear. It seemed that this elder was wrapping it in some kind of energy when sweeping. Hence, Longchen also wrapped it in his spiritual strength and lightly swept with it. When his soul swept over the ground, his body quivered. A feeling that he had never felt before pierced deep into his soul. It was as if the broom was not just sweeping across the ground, but also sweeping through his soul. Longchen felt the earth's heartbeat. All the feelings of sweeping the ground were transmitted to his soul. "How does it feel?" The elder smiled. "Excellent. When your mood is good, the entire world becomes bright. When your mood is bad, the world becomes dark. In truth, what decides whether this world is beautiful or ugly is not the world itself, but your own heart. The heart can easily be covered in dust. Occasionally sweep it and you will find that when the dust flies, you will be able to see wider and deeper. You will also be able to see yourself," said the elder slowly. "Many thanks for your pointers, Senior. Junior understands. If the heart is covered in dust, it means that desires have clouded the eyes, that anger is raging through the soul. With the heart not being clear, it is impossible to see. Without being able to see, every single step is difficult. Only by seeing yourself clearly, using the self as a mirror, can you see further," said Longchen. "Well done, child." The elder nodded and smiled with satisfaction. He slowly left. As for Longchen, he continued to lightly sweep the ground. Through the elder's pointers, he swept up the leaves, revealing the clean ground. It felt as if the vexations of his heart were being wiped away, as if the dust of his mind was being cleaned. He felt refreshed. It felt as if his mental state had risen just from sweeping. Longchen had never expected that such a simple action could be such a profound cultivation. The Tao was truly unfathomable. There were no major or minor Taos. All things could lead to becoming one with the world. "Hey, little fellow, come over here. I have something to ask you." Just as Longchen was immersed in that beautiful feeling, a sharp and thin voice rang out. It was like a duck cry, not a pleasant sound for Longchen. A group of dozens of young men and women had appeared at the gates to the academy. There was a particular mark on their chests. Also, their clothes were completely different from what the academy's disciples wore. This group of people looked around, and seeing only a sweeper in broken-down clothes, they pointed and called out to him. Longchen was in the midst of sweeping when he was disturbed. It was like a rock had been thrown on a calm lake. The ripples completely broke his beautiful feeling, and he couldn't help frowning. The current Longchen now understood why the elder had previously said that his realm wasn't high enough to sweep before this. He was currently trying to grasp that feeling. It was a much higher realm and difficult to grasp. Just as he started to experience it, a group of people caused ripples to disturb him. He was almost broken out of this state. Ignoring them, Longchen continued to sweep according to his previous rhythm. His spiritual strength wrapped around the broom. However, he found that the damage was difficult to repair. The more he tried to maintain that feeling, the more it slipped away from him. Like sand in the hand, the tighter he held it, the faster it flowed through his fingers. "Hey brat, are you deaf?" Just as he was persevering to maintain this state, that duck-voiced man barged over to Longchen and shouted in his ear. Longchen's fury instantly soared. At that moment, any of that feeling vanished. It was like he was woken from a dream. A vein throbbed on his forehead. When the heart is covered in dust, desire blinds the eye, anger rages through the soul. When the heart is not clear, you cannot see your path, and every step is difficult. Long Chen took a deep breath and muttered to himself. After a bit, his anger was slowly suppressed, and that feeling slowly resurfaced. That sweeping elder had imparted something that was not necessarily a kind of cultivation method, but a principle of pursuing a small path of the Tao until it encompassed the entire Tao. If Long Chen could comprehend it, mastering this one piece would be equivalent to mastering everything. That was why Long Chen was trying to hold on as much as possible. "Fuck, I'm talking to you." That person grabbed Long Chen's collar when he saw this beggar-like person muttering to himself. "Every step is difficult. Fuck you." Long Chen's fury exploded beyond control. Unable to maintain that state, Long Chen slapped this person in the face. His face caved in and blood splashed. Without even being able to make a grunt, he was sent flying. "You bastards, you wanna die? I'll send you to the path of reincarnation for free." Long Chen roared like a furious lion. Amongst this group of youngsters was a middle-aged man. That man furiously shouted, "Brazen brat, you don't know how to respect your elders. Capture him." Following his orders, the dozens of young people around him charged forward, pouncing on Long Chen from every direction. Unexpectedly, these youngsters were at the 9th heaven stage of the divine flame realm. Their divine flames raged once they attacked. Bang! Ah! Aya! As soon as those people pounced on Long Chen, the sound of bones breaking and screams rang out. In the blink of an eye, those people were on the ground. Although their auras were powerful, it seemed that their combat experience was lacking. There were hundreds of openings in their moves. Let alone Long Chen, even Luo Bing, Luo Ning, and the others were easily able to defeat them. Their combat power was as weak as sheep. Brazen disciple. This heaven master will dash. The middle-aged man suddenly unleashed his powerful aura, but just as his aura was unleashed, he was slapped in the face. Stars revolved in his eyes, and heaven and earth seemed to spin around him. Bang! Long Chen kneed him in the abdomen. He coughed up a mouthful of blood and curled up like a shrimp. Long Chen grabbed hold of him and then slapped him like it was free. 20 slaps were finished in one moment, and his head swelled like a pig's. It seemed that Long Chen had managed to vent his anger, and he gradually returned to calm. When your mood is good, the entire world becomes bright. When your mood is bad, the world becomes dark. Senior's words are truly priceless gems. Seeing those people lying on the ground, Long Chen nodded. He felt even greater reverence for that sweeping elder. He also understood just how much effort the elder had put into helping him comprehend this. Understanding was one thing, but actually doing it was another matter. "Long Chen, have you seen the 9-flower envoy?" Just at this moment, Heaven Master Yunyang was leading a group of people this way. Midway through, he saw the people lying on the ground. Seeing the middle-aged man's current state, he exclaimed, "Heaven Master Ji Li, is that you?" That Heaven Master Ji Li, the middle-aged man, struggled to climb up. He coughed up a mouthful of blood, with a dozen teeth included. "Little bastard," he pointed at Long Chen and cursed. In his rage, a rune appeared on his forehead. He seemed to be summoning some ultimate move. As a result, a lightning spear appeared in Long Chen's hand. In front of everyone's dumbfounded gazes, he pierced Heaven Master Ji Li's chest. Long Chen was as quick as lightning, striking with no warning at all. By the time everyone reacted, Heaven Master Ji Li was lifted into the air by the lightning spear. "Ignorant rat, if you dare to say any more arrogant words, Boss Long San will send you to the Yellow Springs today. If you don't believe me, you can try it." Icy killing intent simmered in Long Chen's eyes. He was like a death god calmly looking at his prey. "Long Chen, you can't. This is an envoy from the 9-flower sect. They came to discuss the Tao with us," exclaimed Heaven Master Yunyang. He cried out inside. Just how did Long Chen appear here? And how did the 9-flower envoy suddenly show up here? He knew Long Chen's character far too well. Ji Li's life was now in Long Chen's hands, and if Long Chen wanted to kill him, no one could stop him. The 9-flower envoy had appeared without giving prior notice. At the gate, they showed their status, and the disciples in charge of receiving them sent a report, as well as telling them that others could receive them. However, Ji Li and the others refused to wait and barged through, just in time to see Long Chen. The result was as such. Long Chen didn't seem to hear Heaven Master Yun Yang's words. He stared coldly at Ji Li, who was filled with shock and rage, but Long Chen's gaze made him afraid. He clenched his teeth and spat out, "Fine, Ji Li, admit defeat." Only when Ji Li admitted defeat did Long Chen slowly pull out the lightning spear. A bloody hole that was charred black was left in his chest. As for the disciples of the Nine-Flower sect that were on the ground, they struggled to crawl up. They no longer had their arrogant appearance and only stared in shock at Long Chen. Ji Li's face was dark. With some one-handed seals, the wound on his chest rapidly healed. His cultivation base was actually extremely high, but Long Chen didn't give him any chance to display it. Senior apprentice brother Ji Li. Although it was awkward, Heaven Master Yun Yang could only thicken his face. "No need. My Nine-Flower sect came with good intentions to discuss the Tao, but we didn't expect to get this treatment. Starting now, the Nine-Flower sect is no longer allied with the High Firmament Academy. We'll meet at the Tao discussion convention." Ji Li snorted coldly. Swinging his sleeve, he left. Those disciples hastily followed. Once Ji Li and the others left, Heaven Master Yun Yang sighed. "The Nine-Flower sect's envoy was arranged by the Academy for you. It was to give you experience when it comes to discussing the Tao, so that you aren't caught unprepared for the Tao discussion at the convention." The Nine-Flower sect and the High Firmament Academy were both bottom rankers for the Nine Prefecture Convention's Tao discussion. Their instructor corps were originally on good terms and would always have some practice rounds with each other before the convention as preparation. However, who would have thought that they would be driven out by Long Chen? Now Heaven Master Yun Yang was in an awkward position. People like that are capable of discussing the Tao? They themselves don't understand the Tao, so how are they supposed to transmit it? Anyone who thinks themselves to be above others has already fallen and cannot discuss the Tao, said Long Chen. Whether it was the middle-aged man or the disciples, they were all exceedingly arrogant. Rather than discussing the Tao, it seemed as if they had come to mess around. Long Chen didn't know how many real characters he had encountered in his lifetime. As for people like that, they were nothing. In Long Chen's eyes, the only ones that could truly be called masters, existences that he truly esteemed from his soul, were Yun Shang, Qing Su, Mo Li, Ziyang, and Han Wei, the five sovereigns. In the immortal world, the only one he esteemed was the Sweeping Elder. He found him to be truly unfathomable and wise. As for the others, although there was admiration and respect, he wouldn't call them masters. Long Chen was originally feeling a bit uneasy about the Tao discussion, as the caliber of his opponents was unknown. But if even people like Ji Li were participating, then he felt much more confident. Heaven Master Yun Yang had nothing to say in reply to Long Chen. They also knew Ji Li's character. He was easy to anger, but he didn't have a bad heart. However, having repeatedly met setbacks in the Tao discussion, he started to feel a bit inferior. His arrogance was an outer robe to cover that feeling. In any case, he had participated in the Tao discussion many times, and ignoring his results, he had plenty of experience. He had some areas where he had unique viewpoints, which gave his words extra sharpness, and he liked to nitpick. That was why the Academy had invited him over to give Long Chen some training. But they hadn't expected such a thing to occur. Not good. The Nine-Flower envoy, they've been killed. Suddenly, a disciple ran over, terrified. What? What happened? The Nine-Flower envoy has just left the Academy when they encountered senior apprentice brother Changchuan returning to the Academy. They didn't get off to a good start, and after just a few words, they started fighting. Heaven Master Ji Li unleashed his full power but was still unable to last more than 3 exchanges against senior apprentice brother Changchuan before his head was cut off. Reported the disciple. Young Master Changchuan, Heaven Master Yun Yang and the others' expressions changed. Even Long Chen was shocked. That mysterious rank 2 expert on the Earth rankings had actually appeared at this time. Based on this, he was truly powerful. The only reason that Long Chen had defeated Ji Li in one move was because he hadn't given him a chance to unleash his cultivation base. But young Master Ji Li had killed him in 3 moves even when he had unleashed his full power. That showed just how powerful he was. That's not good. I'll go take a look. Heaven Master Yunyang was about to rush off. No need. Just at this moment, the void shuddered, and a white-haired man appeared out of nowhere. Light flowed around him, and there was a sun behind him. There was also an illusory image within that sun. The light of the sun set him off, making him appear particularly exceptional. He was tall with hair that reached his shoulders. His entire face looked like it had been carved out of flawless jade. Even Long Chen had to admit that he was truly handsome, almost perfect. He himself was far inferior. Young Master Changchuan, you've awakened a primal bloodline. Congratulations. Heaven Master Yunyang stared in shock at the manifestation behind young Master Changchuan. That is a primal manifestation? Only then did Long Chen's gaze focus on the sun. Looking closely at it, he saw the image within it suddenly change. A pair of eyes appeared. Those were not human eyes, and he couldn't tell what life form it was. When those eyes appeared, a sharp killing intent appeared. Long Chen felt like 2 sharp swords were shooting from those eyes and entering his soul. Boom! Ripples exploded between Long Chen and young Master Changchuan. Because of it, Heaven Master Yunyang and the others cried out in shock. Even Heaven Master Yunyang and the others felt their souls quiver. Those ripples almost tore through their spiritual defenses. Both Long Chen and young Master Changchuan suddenly retreated a few steps, both shocked. Dragon blood power. Full moon rhinoceros. The instant their souls clashed, Long Chen saw the image of a full moon rhinoceros. However, it was different from others that he had seen. It was incomparably large, standing within the starry sky and surrounded by endless stars. Its body seemed to be even bigger than the starry sky. Furthermore, the direction it was looking toward was a full moon. Within that moon, he saw a mass of primal chaos. However, before he could get a closer look, a dragon roar came from his soul, and the image shattered. Although it was just one instantaneous clash, both Long Chen and young Master Changchuan were shaken. I didn't expect that you have true dragon essence blood. The dragon's soul protects you. Then I don't have any advantage over you. Do you dare to have a fight? Battle intent soared out of young Master Changchuan. Upon hearing this, Heaven Master Yunyang and the others' expressions changed. Long Chen, Su Changchuan, and Bai Shishir were their main force in the 9 Prefecture Convention. They could not be fighting amongst themselves. I'm not interested. Long Chen shook his head. As an expert, you must face challenges. If you're such a coward, how are you qualified to pursue Fairy Shishir? Demanded Su Changchuan. Long Chen scoffed. How laughable. Who said that I'm pursuing Bai Shishir? And does pursuing someone require qualifications? Well, whatever. I won't argue with a child. I've grown past that competitive age. It would be best if you didn't provoke me because I'm very busy. Long Chen waved his hand, and ignoring everyone else, he lowered his head and started sweeping once more. Are you looking down on me? Shouted Su Changchuan. Long Chen didn't raise his head or even look at him. He just continued sweeping with his head down. Seeing this, Su Changchuan clenched his fists, and his manifestation quivered. However, he had his own pride. If Long Chen didn't want to fight with him, he wouldn't force it. Long Chen, there will be a battle between us sooner or later. Just wait. He snorted and left. Watching him leave, Heaven Master Yunyang sighed. He also led his group away. Everyone else was gone, but Long Chen continued slowly sweeping. When the leaves were piled together, a light breeze blew by, scattering the leaves. All his previous efforts were wasted. Long Chen stared for a moment before a smile slowly came across his face. Just at this moment, the sweeping elder returned. How do you feel? He asked. Long Chen gratefully said, Many thanks for your pointers, senior. I feel excellent. To not judge based on results, to not decide success or failure. The heavenly Daos are fair. As long as you work hard, you will definitely have gains. However, sometimes those gains are visible and sometimes they're not. I also understand that what I see before me is not necessarily true. Just because I can't see something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. A single broom could sweep away the dust in front of me and let me see a new world. I will remember the kindness of this pointer. Having his progress interrupted midway had infuriated him. It felt like all his work was for nothing. That feeling was terrible. However, now he had a new feeling. Even if something ultimately failed, it didn't mean that there were no gains. Long Chen's mental state had been enlightened to a far wider view, so the shadow of his defeat on the martial heaven continent also dissipated. He finally walked free from that shadow. In that battle, many people had died and the martial heaven continent itself was destroyed. But ultimately most of them lived. He had accomplished what the martial heaven continent entrusted to him. Furthermore, through that battle, he also recognized the areas he was lacking in. Thus, in life, there were also gains and losses. If you gained something, you also lost something. In the same vein, if you lost something, you also gained something. If you spent all day mired in thoughts of what you lost, that would be the greatest foolishness. A pointer? No, this is no pointer. That is because if right and wrong cannot be determined, who would be so presumptuous as to talk about pointers? The elder shook his head. He received his broom back and once more started sweeping. Right and wrong, good and evil, is there a line separating them? If there is, who decides that? Is that person definitely right? Did that person make that line with a bias toward themselves and their own actions? If there are rules, then there will be holes. If there are no rules, then chaos reigns. Where did everything come from then? Life, the Daos, the laws of the world? Perhaps only the ruler could say. Have you thought about being the ruler? Senior, Long Chen was startled. The elder's words seemed to contain some mystery behind them. It was as if he was passing on something to Long Chen. But after he said this, he vanished. It was as if he was speaking to both Long Chen and himself, befuddling Long Chen. His words seemed to relate to an even higher level secret. Long Chen didn't know if this counted as a subtle warning. After pondering it for a long time, he was still unable to figure out the elder's intentions. According to the elder, there was no such thing as right or wrong in this world. There were only different viewpoints. Big brother Long Chen. Just as Long Chen was in thought, a young voice rang out and woke him from his stupor. Rainbow light flew around him. At this moment, a rainbow crane appeared in front of him. The rainbow crane then transformed into a young girl. Her beautiful eyes were like stars in the night sky. Seeing Long Chen, she smiled so excitedly that her eyes became crescent moons. Big brother, I came to find you. This girl was a transformation of the rainbow crane. He had seen her before at the gates to the inner academy. It was the girl who called him a good person. However, today it was just her. Her companions weren't there, so she immediately hugged him. Long Chen's inner heart was originally a bit heavy due to the elder's final words. However, this girl's smile infected him. Something beautiful could make a person forget all their vexations. The girl grew even happier when Long Chen hugged back. Hearing her tinkling laughter, Long Chen felt his entire body relax. Big brother, let me tell you, that grandpa is really amazing. The girl whispered into Long Chen's ear. The sweeping grandpa? Asked Long Chen. Yes. Our rainbow crane race lives a long time. From the time when I was born until now, I already saw 3 generations of deans leave. But that sweeping grandpa has seen 9 generations of our race. When our first generation patriarch arrived here, that grandpa was already sweeping the ground, whispered the girl as if she didn't want anyone else to hear. Long Chen was shocked. Although he had felt this sweeping elder to not be ordinary, he had never expected him to have lived for so long. The elder was practically a living fossil. This girl had seen 3 generations of deans. But the sweeping elder had seen 9 generations of the rainbow crane race? Long Chen didn't dare to even think of how old this sweeping elder was. My mom is calling me back. It's over. I definitely said too much. The girl's expression suddenly fell. Long Chen didn't know what had happened. He also didn't know how to console her, so he just looked at her. She suddenly extended a hand, and a feather appeared. It was black and white, and yet rainbow light shone around it. My mom told me to give this to you. She said it might be useful to you. Big brother, I have to go. Next time I'll come to find you to play. The girl reluctantly waved goodbye to Long Chen. She transformed back into a rainbow crane and flew away. Original true feather. When Long Chen looked at the feather she had left in his hand, his whole body shook. The feather in Long Chen's hand was an original true feather. It was the most precious feather of a rainbow crane, equivalent to a true dragon's reverse scale. The rainbow cranes were blessed by the heavenly Daos, and legend was that their feathers were auspicious signs. The rainbow crane race almost never interacted with the human race, so their original true feather was something that only existed in legends. Almost no one had ever seen it before. Holding the original true feather and feeling the energy within it, Long Chen instantly realized that he could absorb its auspicious energy. If I use it, it will call down a blessing of the heavens. All 10,000 Daos will merge, and the world will be under my control. Long Chen muttered to himself. Just holding it, he could tell what kind of phenomena would occur when it was activated. The heavenly Daos were the most unfathomable existence in this world. But with this original true feather, by using the rainbow crane race's auspicious blessing, he could achieve a level of complete control. Long Chen almost didn't dare to believe that such a power existed. This gift from the rainbow crane race is too precious. Long Chen looked in the direction that the crane girl had gone. She had actually sent him a life-protecting talisman. Although he didn't know the exact effect of this original true feather, he was certain that it possessed the power to shake heaven and earth. He put away the original true feather solemnly. Just as he was leaving, he heard hurried footsteps rushing over. He turned to see Luo Bing and Luo Ning running over. Long Chen, our Luo family's protector corps has sent a commander over, reported Luo Bing. Previously, Long Chen's spirit awakening pills had helped the two of them awaken their bloodline power. Hence, Luo Bing had sent word back to the family, and now the family finally managed to send people over. Working together with Long Chen was an extremely important matter to the Luo family. Now it was time to discuss it. In the outer academy, Long Chen met this expert of the Luo family. He was a handsome man who looked to be in his 30s, and he stood as straight as a ramrod, like a javelin. His eyes were calm, but there was a light within them like a sheathed sword. Despite him not unleashing any aura, Long Chen felt immense pressure from him. He wore white robes, giving him a feeling of transcending the mortal world yet also a feeling of closeness. You must be Mr. Long Chen. From the moment I set foot into the martial heaven domain, I've heard of your name. Such a promising junior is truly rare. This man was Luo Changwu. He praised Long Chen, his expression sincere. It was not just an elaborate praise for courtesy. Long Chen, let me introduce you. This is our Luo family's protector corps commander and also our family head's second son. He definitely has the authority to make decisions in the Luo family, said Luo Bing. Long Chen's heart skipped a beat. The family head's second son? Then wasn't this his mother's big brother? His own uncle? No wonder he felt such a sense of closeness with just a look. Junior Long Chen greets senior. Long Chen hastily greeted him according to the proper etiquette of a junior. Seeing him be so courteous, Luo Bing and Luo Ning were delighted. Considering Long Chen's untamable character, he didn't give anyone face. They had been worried about this matter collapsing due to this, so they were very grateful that Long Chen was so humble. They actually thought that Long Chen was giving them face by being so polite to him. Luo Changwu immediately propped Long Chen up, smiling. Junior brother, there's no need to be so courteous. To be honest, my Luo family was rude to you this time. After receiving the news, we should have come sooner. After all, this matter relates to my Luo family's fate. We don't dare to tarry. However, there were 2 intense battles against the Chu family during this time. I could only rush over here after dealing with those trifles, wasting quite a bit of time. Actually, my big brother should have been the one to come this time, but he was injured during those battles, so I was sent instead. I hope you won't blame us. We fought against the Chu family again? Asked Luo Bing in surprise. Luo Changwu waved his hand. Nothing more than some crooked dishonesty from the Chu family. We didn't want you to be distracted by such a thing, so we didn't inform you. Luo Bing and Luo Ning's expressions changed somehow. Even the son of the family head had been injured, so that was definitely not a minor scuffle. Seeing their expressions, Luo Changwu softly said, "You're good children. You want to carry the burden of the family. But now isn't that time yet? Now, you need to work hard on your cultivation and grow up quickly. Don't worry, the family has my father and us holding it up. The family is still safe and steady. Just properly cultivate. As for Luo Qingyang, don't blame yourselves. The Luo family has tens of millions of disciples. For one or two to get befuddled is natural. It has nothing to do with you two." Luo Bing and Luo Ning instantly thought of those disciples that had died because of Luo Qingyang, and lines of tears dripped down their faces. They had always felt a great deal of guilt over this matter. "All right, we can discuss this matter later. Won't this junior brother laugh at us if we get so emotional? Let's talk business." After comforting them, Luo Changwu looked at Long Chen. "Junior brother, your spirit awakening pills are very important to our Luo family. Our Luo family will work with you frankly. Just tell me what you want in exchange. As long as it is within our limits, the Luo family will not refuse." If this was a negotiation, then this would be sticking out his own neck to be slaughtered. But Luo Changwu was a very smart person and instantly saw through Long Chen's general character. He had investigated what had happened in the Martial Heaven Prefecture since Long Chen's arrival, and so he was confident enough to directly toss out the Luo family's sincerity. To put it frankly, it was an attitude of if you had to slaughter me, then slaughter me. I wouldn't retaliate. The question was whether or not you would be embarrassed to do such a thing. Long Chen looked at Luo Changwu, his uncle, and felt a mix of emotions. He didn't know what to say. A price? What kind of price? Could they possibly pay the price that he wanted? If he wanted to know his mother's whereabouts, would they tell him? The Luo family had tossed his mother to the land of bitter cold, leaving her life up to fate. He didn't even know if he should hate them or not. Luo Changwu was a bit curious about Long Chen's complicated gaze. It seemed that there were many things hidden in his deep eyes. Luo Bing and Luo Ning both got nervous. "I'm not lacking anything right now, so I don't know what to ask for. How about I give you the secret formula for the medicinal pill, and your Luo family will owe me a debt?" asked Long Chen after a long moment of thought. Luo Changwu was caught in a difficult position. If it was a different power, they would definitely accept. But the Luo family did not rashly promise to owe someone a favor. A favor could be big or small. There was no way to appraise the value of such a thing. This was a difficult request. If Long Chen wanted treasures, resources, secret tomes, divine weapons, then as long as the Luo family had them, then they could discuss it. But a favor? Don't worry, I, Long Chen, have my own pride. I will not hold you hostage with a favor. I won't do anything to damage your foundation or throw your future in danger, said Long Chen. This only made Luo Changwu feel even more embarrassed. Long Chen was being so generous, making the Luo family appear petty. All right, as long as junior brother has some request, just tell us. As long as it is something that the Luo family is capable of, we will definitely not disappoint you, said Luo Changwu. Although he said it brazenly, he held back a bit. That was because on the way here, he had heard that Long Chen was someone who acted regardless of laws or rules. No one knew what he might do, so he couldn't promise anything. This is the pill formula. I have also refined hundreds of these pills myself. Luo Ning told me that the Luo family also has quite a few outstanding alchemists, so with these pills as a sample, it shouldn't be difficult for the Luo family to begin producing spirit awakening pills, said Long Chen, taking out a leather hide and a small bottle. Luo Changwu received the pill formula solemnly. Even he was moved by this pill formula. It was far too important to the Luo family. Once he received the pills from Long Chen, he found that they were all top-grade spirit pills. There were even a few treasure pills, so Luo Changwu once more thanked Long Chen. Although he was aware that Long Chen was an alchemist, someone capable of refining top-grade pills at such an age was truly as rare as a phoenix feather or Qilin horn. As for a youth capable of refining treasure pills, that was even rarer. My Spirit Awakening pill is my own special formula. It isn't split by realm. Even if someone has missed their golden period, they can still awaken their spirit. Furthermore, even if someone has gone through Spirit Awakening, they can undergo a second Spirit Awakening with this pill. However, the effect will be up to each individual, said Long Chen. That, Luo Changwu was shaken by this. The Luo family's disciples should awaken their spirits during the mortal transcendence realm. That was their golden time. After missing it, they wouldn't undergo Spirit Awakening ever. Furthermore, due to some accidents in the Luo family, their spirit pool was unable to provide for enough people. Hence, many disciples with only average talent were not able to undergo Spirit Awakening, resulting in their combat power dropping. However, Long Chen's pill could not only allow them to awaken their spirits after missing their golden period, but it could also allow those who had undergone a low-level Spirit Awakening to undergo a second Spirit Awakening. The effect of this medicinal pill was absolutely heaven-defying. If that really is the case, my Luo family owes you a truly immense debt. Luo Changwu took a deep breath. If it really was as Long Chen said, then even the elders of the Luo family could undergo another Spirit Awakening. In that case, the Luo family's overall power was about to multiply. This was something he didn't even dare to dream of. Junior brother, if you have anything else to say, please go ahead. Luo Changwu noticed that Long Chen hesitated and wanted to say something several times, so he spoke up curiously. Long Chen hesitated once more. In the end, he didn't ask about his mother. He felt that now still wasn't the time to expose himself. I wish to ask Senior to help me protect my secret, but I also feel like that's superfluous. Long Chen shook his head. This was just to cover up his previous actions. Of course, this will be treated as the top secret in the Luo family. We won't leak it, said Luo Changwu. Long Chen nodded. After the 9 Prefecture Convention, I want to go pay my respects to the Luo family. If Junior brother comes, my Luo family will welcome you with everything we have. Speaking of which, during the 9 Prefecture Convention, be careful around the Chu family, said Luo Changwu. What? Isn't the Chu family now very subdued? Luo Bing and Luo Ning were surprised. It had to be known that after the Jialin Immortal Lands incident, they had been ripped out of the academy for trying to kill by Shishir and the other disciples. Even Lord Brahma wouldn't say anything about it because those people were nothing more than a pack of weak dogs. The Chu family had then gathered the other powers and demanded an explanation from the academy, all without express orders from above. But they were then driven away by Long Chen. For the Chu family to fake receiving orders, they had probably drawn a great deal of trouble for themselves. How could they have the time to cause trouble for others? You're still too young. The Chu family's roots go far deeper than you can imagine. Furthermore, they engage in all kinds of business in the dark. There are many areas we don't have information on. If you underestimate them, you will definitely suffer. According to our intel, the Chu family is in a rush to regain face after this loss, so they have sent 6 of their greatest heavenly geniuses to the 9 Prefecture Convention. Their goal goes without saying. So you have to be careful, said Luo Changwu. Are these experts even stronger than Chu Yang? Exclaimed Luo Bing. They will only be stronger. There might even be primals. If you can't beat them, then just directly admit defeat. Do not put up any meaningless resistance, ordered Luo Changwu sternly. Primals? Luo Bing and Luo Ning were shocked. How could the Chu family have primals? That's why I said that the Chu family's foundation isn't something you can imagine. But don't worry, our Luo family will send out our experts to accompany you. But this is the grandest 9 Prefecture Convention ever because the championship prize this time is enough to drive others crazy. What prize? Long Chen couldn't help asking. It is said that the prize is a golden dragon scale. The rumor is that it is a Dragon King's reverse scale. That is an absolutely priceless treasure. On my way here, I heard of countless hidden monsters coming out for this prize. It will definitely be an exceptionally intense battle, said Luo Changwu. Golden dragon scale? Long Chen's heart pounded wildly. Just at this moment, a voice rang out in his mind. Obtain it. That is my descendant's reverse scale. With it, you can summon the golden battle armor. Your physical body will be thousands of times stronger, and you will be able to truly utilize your cultivation technique. Senior. Long Chen was shocked, not having expected the dragon expert to be able to speak to him. However, no matter how he called out, there was no further response. Alright, this golden dragon scale is mine. Long Chen clenched his fists, battle intent soaring within him. For the dragon expert to call attention to it, that golden dragon scale definitely wasn't ordinary. Was it its descendant's reverse scale? It definitely knew something. Right now, Long Chen could be said to be an encyclopedia of knowledge. He was no longer that rookie who had just set foot into the immortal world. The dragon race was the emperor of all beasts. When the dragon might was unleashed, other than a few ancient species, almost all beast races had to submit. However, there were many branches of the dragon race and many mixed bloods as well, which resulted in some low-level dragon blood races. Anyone possessing the slightest trace of the dragon race's bloodline would be called a dragon. Thus, many people didn't know just how powerful the true dragons were. The true dragons were the true rulers of the dragon race, the most original beings of the dragon race. They possessed the purest bloodline. When a true dragon was born, its entire body was green, and so they were called green dragons. After growing up and undergoing the dragon tribulation, their scales turned white. They were then called azure dragons. The azure dragons were fully matured true dragons. Only after growing up and becoming azure dragons did they gain the ability to cultivate. It could be considered the human race's chi-gathering realm, the very initial foundation. Through cultivating, they could inherit bloodline divine abilities. After 99 tribulations, their 108,000 scales would receive the baptism of heaven and earth, taking on the foundation of the 10,000 Daos. Their scales would also transform, becoming golden. At that point, they were called golden dragons, also known as dragon kings. The tribulations for true dragons were extremely terrifying, and even for the true dragons with their powerful physical bodies, the chances of them surviving the tribulation were very low. The odds were less than 1 in 10. The true dragon race's tribulations were challenges against the laws of the heavenly Daos. Other people went through tribulation within the scope of the heavenly Daos laws, but the true dragons wanted to suppress the heavenly Daos and surpass them. Such a tribulation style resulted in death if they did not succeed. This was the pride of the true dragon race. Either they surpassed the laws of heaven and earth, or they died trying. Rather than being a bird trapped in a cage or a fish caught in a net, they would rather die. Thus, a true dragon's reverse scale not only contained their pure essence blood, but it also contained their supreme will. To obtain that inheritance required its approval. In the immortal world, there were very few true dragon reverse scales around. Even if there were, they were passed down, not forced to submit. In order to subdue it, you required its approval and had to be in the same realm. If you were far stronger than it and tried to subdue it, it would explode to prevent being under someone else's control. As a result, the true dragon reverse scales that did exist were preserved quite well. No one could subdue them, so they could only be stared at. Most of those reverse scales were only green dragon reverse scales. Azure dragon reverse scales were very rare. As for golden dragon reverse scales, the reverse scales of dragon kings, one might not appear in tens of thousands of years. For the 9 Prefecture Conventions Championship prize to be a Dragon King reverse scale, it was something that drove countless people crazy. Anyone who viewed themselves as a heavenly genius would hope to have fate with that dragon scale. Long Chen's Azure Dragon reverse scale was obtained in the lower plane, and the current Azure Dragon battle armor was starting to lag behind his requirements. With his divine flames activated, the battle armor couldn't endure their power. Because of this, he hadn't even managed to fully activate the 6-star battle armor last time. Moreover, in the Jalan Immortal world, most of his power had ended up leaking into the air. When he tried to summon the 6-star battle armor, he ended up wasting almost 90% of his energy. Although as his cultivation base grew, his physical body also grew stronger, his divine flames were growing even faster. In order to control his divine flames, he had to strengthen his physical body. That was why Long Chen was so crazily planting the wood foundation divine trees. That way, even if he tore his own body apart at the same time, he could continue fighting. Since this was the case, this Dragon King reverse scale was the treasure he needed the most urgently. He had to pay any price to obtain it. It seems that junior brother is very motivated. But watch out. This 9 prefecture convention is different from the past ones. Due to the bait being so great, it's unknown just how many eyes are on it. Also, due to certain reasons, the High Firmament Academy is standing alone there. You will definitely be targeted, so make sure that you're mentally prepared, warned Luo Changwu. Senior, don't worry. Junior understands. As long as their cultivation bases are within the same realm, I'm not afraid of anyone, said Long Chen. Good. Youngsters should possess such heroism. Luo Changwu laughed. Junior brother, these medicinal pills are very important to my Luo family. I can't waste time, so I'll leave now. If you need anything, inform Binger and she will send word. Let me say it again, as long as it's something that the Luo family can do, we will not shirk our duty. Let us meet again. Long Chen cupped his fists to send him off. Once Luo Changwu left, Long Chen sighed and bitterly smiled inside. This uncle of his was straightforward and upright. He was also very capable and steady. But Long Chen wondered, the next time they met, would they be friends or foes? When it came to his mother's family, he became hesitant and worried. Even though he could face battle without batting an eye, not all things in this world could be resolved with martial power. After sending off Luo Changwu, he returned to the Inner Academy. Due to young Master Changchuan's return, the entire Inner Academy became lively. Some female disciples in particular were in high spirits. That made Long Chen laugh. If young Master Changchuan was judged simply from his outer appearance, it truly would be a case of a peerless piece of jade. This person was truly handsome and yet not at all womanly. The title of the High Firmament Academy's #1 handsome man was not for nothing. However, when he returned, he was infuriated. His guild's people had all been killed in the Jalan Immortal Land. Now he was the only one left, so he had to gather new people and rebuild his forces. Not surprisingly, many female disciples applied. Watching the bustling crowd in the Inner Academy, Long Chen suddenly felt a burst of loneliness. He found that it really was difficult to integrate himself into the academy. Despite forming good relations with many people, he still felt incompatible. Loneliness wasn't the result of having no one beside you. It was the result of having many people beside you without feeling the slightest warmth. The current him was missing his family more and more. Boss, my mom told me to come find you. She says that she wishes to give you a treasure to accompany you as thanks. Just as Long Chen was lost in a stupor, Bai Xiaola ran over to him excitedly. Long Chen noticed that Bai Xiaola had some new silver body armor on, and he seemed extremely pleased with it. Boss, look at what my aunt gave me. Bai Xiaola pointed to his armor. It's impervious to blade or spear, water or fire. It also has its own divine runes in it. It was specially made for me. Your aunt? Asked Long Chen. He still hadn't fully recovered from his stupor. It's Bai Shirshir's mother, said Bai Xiaola. Long Chen nodded. However, rashly accepting gifts like this wasn't something Long Chen had no shame over. However, Bai Xiaola refused to let him off, saying that someone who could take advantage but didn't was a fool. Hence, Long Chen followed him to see his mother. Bai Xiaola's mother smiled when they arrived. Long Chen, Xiaola was helped by you. You've pulled out a stake in our hearts, and such a favor cannot be forgotten. I heard that you are lacking a weapon for the 9 prefecture convention. My husband and I have fought others for many years, so we have quite a bit of leftovers that you can check. As she waved her hand, balls of light appeared in the air. Every ball contained a divine weapon. Those weapons seemed a mix of illusory and real within those balls. But the divine energy fluctuations of those weapons continued to come through, making Long Chen's soul shake. Spears, sabers, swords, halberds, ropes, rings, towers, rods, and dozens of other kinds of weapons appeared. It was a dazzling sight. These are all treasure items. In the immortal world, above spirit items were treasure items. The greatest difference between them was the power of their item spirit. A spirit item's item spirit could assist the user and increase their power. However, their level was rather low. They lacked the ability to fully control themselves. But treasure items possessed terrifying power just on their own. A treasure item had a far more intelligent item spirit and was capable of controlling its one power. Some treasure items were even stronger than their masters. When their masters were in danger, they could protect them. However, they were incredibly precious. Even a genius like Chu Yang wasn't bestowed a treasure item by the family. Furthermore, becoming the master of a treasure item was very difficult. If it felt that the master was too weak, it wouldn't accept them. Forcibly subduing one would require sacrificing a great deal of spiritual and bloodline energy. Clearly, Bai Xiaola's mother was not just giving him a treasure item. She was also willing to help him subdue it. It could be said that she had invested quite a bit in this gift, showing just how grateful she was for Long Chen's help to Bai Xiaola. As for Bai Xiaola's new armor, that was something that Bai Shishir's mother had helped him subdue. With it they were much more at ease. This upcoming 9 prefecture convention would not be ordinary, so they didn't dare to be careless. Boss, I heard that your sword arts are supreme. Why don't you take this sword? I feel like this sword suits you best. You can sweep through everyone with a single slash. Urged by Xiaola, seeming even more excited than Long Chen. However, Long Chen was looking at a saber. Even through the divine light, he could sense its sharp aura, as well as its bloodthirstiness and domineeringness. Long Chen then beckoned and the saber flew into his hand. As it rumbled, a sharp light erupted out of it. A void-ripping sound also rang out. Your vision is good. This saber is called Autumn Water. When I fought its master, I was almost injured by it. The saber seems to really like you. It seems that it suits you, said Bai Xiaola's mother, a bit surprised. It had to be known that a treasure item required an expert to at least be at the 4-peak realm to subdue it. But this saber was willingly throwing itself at Long Chen. It was a bit inconceivable. Long Chen shook his head. This saber doesn't suit me. My power is focused on hardness, and it is too light. Furthermore, its material has plenty of sharpness but lacks toughness. It can't endure my power. It was a good saber, but it was more of a nimble and agile build, and that wasn't his fighting style. He could only send it back. Something hard and heavy? Bai Xiaola's mother thought about it. She suddenly waved her hand, and a black saber appeared in front of Long Chen. What do you think about this? This is... Long Chen stared at the black saber in front of him, his heart pounding. But the light within his eyes quickly faded as he felt a pang of pain. This black saber made him think of Dragonbone Evil Moon. This companion that had fought alongside him in battle had ultimately left him. This black saber's length was about the same as Evil Moon, but it wasn't as malevolent and sinister in appearance. The heavy aura it possessed was extremely shocking though. Bai Xiaola was beside Long Chen, and the appearance of the black saber made space feel like it was being compressed. It was so uncomfortable that he retreated a few steps. This saber has no name, and it isn't complete either. The forger did not forge its spirit, so it has no item spirit. But its weight is astonishing, and the materials that went into it are very precious, even more so than an ordinary treasure item. I've had no use for it all this time. Do you wish to use it? Asked Bai Xiaola's mother. Long Chen reached out and grabbed the hilt. He slowly pulled it out of the ball of light. At this moment, the ground beneath his feet cracked. The runes on the stones lit up, but they continued to crack, as if they might completely crumble at any moment. Seeing Long Chen receive this shockingly heavy saber with one hand, Bai Xiaola's mother was shocked. His power was truly astonishing. The saber's runes lit up, growing brighter and brighter. A star diagram then slowly appeared on top of it. At this moment, immense and forceful power flowed within the saber. Suddenly, the stars vanished. Long Chen rested the saber on his shoulder. One man and one saber stood there, appearing incredibly wild and domineering. It was as if they contained endless power, power that could destroy this entire world. Many thanks, Senior. I will accept this gift. Long Chen felt like he had found that old familiar feeling, and he smiled with satisfaction. His astral power hadn't destroyed the saber. Instead, its internal runes activated and seemed that they could still contain more energy. It very much suited him. With such a good weapon, he felt much more confident. After that, time passed bit by bit, and the day to move out quickly arrived. Everyone participating in the 9 Prefecture Convention gathered. Just over 30 people were participating in the 9 Prefecture Convention from the High Firmament Academy. However, Long Chen was surprised that over 20 of those were unfamiliar faces. Furthermore, their auras were quite powerful. They were not inferior to Luo Bing, Mu Qingyun, and the others, but he didn't recognize a single one of them. On Long Chen's side were only Luo Bing, Luo Ning, Mu Qingyun, and Bai Xiaola. Even Li Kai, Zhong Ling, Zhong Xiu, and the others didn't apply. That was because Luo Bing said that people like her would only be cannon fodder in the 9 Prefecture Convention. Thus, Li Kai and the others had no hope at all. However, they had all applied to watch. It was simply that they wouldn't be leaving with those actually participating. Those given spots to watch would only be informed a few days later. Furthermore, anyone who wished to watch had to take care of their own ticket fee and incidental costs. The Academy would only provide flying boats and transportation formation protectors. The cost was not small, and an ordinary person couldn't afford it. However, as Long Chen's worshippers, and considering they would get to experience the true elites of the 9 prefectures, many people still chose to pay. Long Chen instantly saw young Master Changchuan who stood out amongst the crowd. In the distance, there were even countless women cheering and shouting his name. They had come to send him off. "This is having a pretty boy face so amazing," snorted Bai Xiaola a bit irritably. Long Chen patted Bai Xiaola's shoulder. "Learn to appreciate beautiful things instead of having jealousy cloud your eyes. You should admit where you're inferior to others. When you're prideful, compare yourself to other people's strong points. When you're feeling inferior, bring out your own strong points to compare to others." Luo Bing and Mu Qingyun exchanged a smile. Any man would feel inferior compared to young Master Changchuan, but Long Chen was still as calm as flat water. "Hee, do you compare yourself to others like this as well?" asked Bai Xiaola. "Me? No, I never compare myself to others because that would make me lazy," said Long Chen. Luo Ning laughed. "What thick skin? Are you trying to say that you're superior in every way?" Long Chen shrugged. "There's nothing I can do. Being unrivaled is truly lonesome." Luo Bing and Mu Qingyun laughed, but he was truly qualified to say this. It was just that his way of joking was very amusing. "Long Chen, there will sooner or later be a fight between us. I won't allow anyone to have the slightest fantasies toward Fairy Shirshir," said young Master Changchuan. The crowd fell silent when he spoke. The atmosphere grew tense. One came from a mysterious forbidden area, the unfathomable young Master Changchuan. The other was a newcomer to the academy who soared like a shooting star and created legends. When the two of them went against each other, it instantly made everyone nervous. Long Chen frowned. Examining him, he said, "Do you have something wrong with your head? You look so handsome that I don't want to slap you and ruin that image, but you keep acting like this. My mood is good right now, so I can't be bothered with you. If my mood was bad, it'd be over for you. I don't care what status or background you have. Don't force my hand." Young Master Changchuan frowned. Battle intent soared out of him. "Then let's fight. If I lose, I will leave the academy, and Fairy Shirshir will be yours." "Fuck, who do you think Fairy Shirshir is to be mine just because I beat you?" Long Chen laughed from anger, but just as he said this, he felt a chill on his back, as if 2 sharp swords were pointed at his heart. He slowly turned to see a pair of sharp, beautiful eyes glaring at him, as if they would pierce straight through him. Cough, what a misunderstanding. "Fairy Shirshir, you are not. How should I put it? In any case, I didn't mean it like that," said Long Chen awkwardly in the face of Bai Shirshir's frostiness. "The two of you should shut your mouths. Keep talking nonsense and I'll kill both of you. Smelly men should stay away from me." Bai Shirshir's voice hissed out of the cracks between her teeth. She was clearly enraged. Seeing her so angry, young Master Changchuan didn't say another word. At the same time, Long Chen curled his lips and shrugged, acting indifferent. Fairy Shirshir, in truth, young Master Changchuan spoke up after a moment of silence. Shut up. Bai Shirshir was enraged, and young Master Changchuan shut his mouth. It seemed he was very used to being scolded by Bai Shirshir. Long Chen couldn't help shaking his head. People really did look for things that they couldn't have. With young Master Changchuan's talent and looks, he could find any woman he wanted. But he just had to pursue Bai Shirshir. Why bother? Bai Shirshir had advanced to the 9th heaven stage of the Divine Flame realm, and her aura was incomparably solid. Those 2 Divine Whisker Flame Spirit pills clearly had an immense effect. However, there were no manifestation fluctuations around her, so she clearly hadn't awakened a primal bloodline. Amongst them, only young Master Changchuan was a primal. After asking around, it seemed that young Master Changchuan had expressly left the academy during this time just to return to his home in that forbidden zone to awaken his primal bloodline. Awakening a primal bloodline was extremely difficult. Other than your own hard work, you needed the help of the outside world's power as well. A bit of luck also couldn't be lacking. Whoever talks about me next should be ready for me to turn hostile on them. I have said that I, Bai Shirshir, need no man in this lifetime, warned Bai Shirshir. The prideful Bai Shirshir had actually been turned into the prize of a wager between others. Not even an ordinary person would be able to accept that, let alone Bai Shirshir. What a waste, sighed Long Chen, mumbling to himself. What did you say? Demanded Bai Shirshir, looking as if she was going to kill him. Long Chen looked to the sky. The weather today isn't bad. I am the leader of the group attending this 9 prefecture convention. It would be best if you all listen to my rules and give me the minimum respect, especially you, said Bai Shirshir, looking at Long Chen. Long Chen rolled his eyes. When had he not respected her? After warning Long Chen and young Master Changchuan, Bai Shirshir turned to everyone else. You are disciples of the Battle God Palace. You're attending the 9 prefecture convention with us, so let's get familiar with each other before moving out. Only then did Long Chen realize that these unfamiliar faces were those raised by the Battle God Palace. After that, everyone exchanged names, and it could count as getting acquainted. A beautiful celestial horse descended from the sky at this time, pulling a golden war chariot. A beautiful woman then walked down from the war chariot and smiled at everyone. Warriors of the High Firmament Academy, let us set out. What Long Chen hadn't expected was for the one escorting them to be Bai Shirshir's mother. The white celestial horse spread its transparent wings, unleashing a wave of dreamlike ripples. It was as if the entire world was no longer real. It's actually an illusion beast. Long Chen's heart shook. Whenever this celestial beast's wings shook, ripples spread. Wherever those ripples went, Long Chen felt space constantly transform. However, Long Chen knew that this wasn't the result of space changing. It was an illusion. The celestial horse race was very large, and the illusion celestial horses were their emperors, which possessed an innate ability to unleash illusions. It wasn't using a divine ability as the runes on its wings hadn't even been activated. But every light movement of its wings drew people into an illusion. Even Long Chen felt like the world was no longer real. It was severely impacting his senses. At this moment, Long Chen and the others got on the war chariot. He then waved goodbye to Zhong Ling and the others before entering. The chariot contained its own extremely large space. Long Chen found a seat beside a window, and there was a tea table there. Luo Bing, Luo Ning, and Mu Qingyun sat with him. As for Bai Xiaola, he seemed very familiar with the war chariot. He pressed a button on the wall, and a door appeared with a bedroom inside. He then directly fell asleep on the bed. In truth, ever since he activated the 3 flower pupils, he often got sleepy. Whenever there wasn't something exciting to do, he would sleep. Long Chen knew that this was the result of his 3 flower pupils just being activated. He wasn't used to it yet. Having his eyes open for too long would make him feel weary since he couldn't control the 3 flower pupils perfectly yet. Now, energy was constantly leaking out of his eyes. He would be fine after getting used to his new power. Long Chen had also studied the 3 flower pupils during this time. Through Bai Xiaola, he learned this technique. But this bloodline eye art was not something he could use despite all his knowledge. There were many kinds of 3 flower pupils actually. Different bloodlines would activate different kinds of power from them. For example, Bai Xiaola's 3 flower pupils were a kind of spatial energy control. He could unleash this power on its own, or he could use hand seals to use a divine art with this power. Since Long Chen didn't have this bloodline power, his 3 flower pupils were entirely plagiarized. Based on how Bai Xiaola used his 3 flower pupils, Long Chen activated them as well. But every time, they were destroyed by that black energy. At the same time, his eyes would be left hurting for a long time. However, through this continuous testing, he finally had some slight gains. He was now testing how he could use the 3 flower pupils to unleash the black energy. The dragon race expert had told him that he had to constantly unleash the black energy to avoid being devoured by it. When Bai Xiaola managed to fully master his 3 flower pupils, Long Chen would also be able to benefit more. Now, Long Chen, Luo Bing, Luo Ning, and Mu Qingyun sat by the window, drinking tea. As for Bai Shishir, her face remained cold the entire time. She sat in a corner with her eyes closed. Young Master Changchuan no longer had the feeling of being the moon surrounded by stars. He also found a corner to sit in, learning from Bai Shishir and meditating. The others were also silent, finding their own spots and sitting. The chariot was so huge that let alone 30 people, even 300 people would be able to sit inside without feeling crowded. The celestial horse slowly left the academy. As its wings flapped, it pulled the chariot forward. Looking outside, time seemed to pass by in bouts. With every break, the scene changed, and in just a few moments, they had left the academy's land. "What is going on?" exclaimed Luo Ning. Long Chen explained, "The celestial horse is so fast that it results in spatial compression, creating disconnected spatial layers. There is a formation on the chariot that blocks the impact of this spatial pressure, so you still feel very comfortable inside, but what you see outside is the result of different spacetimes appearing. That's why they appear one by one. Since we're just starting, they're probably afraid we won't be able to endure the impact of this instantaneous acceleration. After a bit, this illusory feeling will fade." As expected of the High Firmament Academy's youngest heaven master in all of history. "You really are knowledgeable." Just at this moment, Bai Shishir's mother walked in, smiling at Long Chen. The Battle God Palace's disciples instantly stood at attention and bowed to her, treating her reverently. Bai Shishir's mother waved his hand, indicating for everyone not to stand on courtesy. She then turned to Long Chen and the others. "Can I sit here?" Luo Bing and the others were overwhelmed. They hastily cleared up a spot for her. Long Chen said, "Big sister, please sit." "Big sister." Bai Shishir's mother stared at him for a moment before laughing. "You know how to talk. You can take advantage while also curry favor." Luo Bing and the others were speechless. He was truly brazen and dared to say anything. He was calling the palace master's wife big sister? Then wasn't that placing himself on the same level of seniority as the palace master, as well as putting him above Bai Shishir? Luo Ning stealthily glanced at Bai Shishir. She saw that she was acting as if she hadn't heard anything. Her face was as cold as ever. It seemed that she also didn't feel much warmth toward her mother. Bai Shishir's mother then sat down. Every single one of her movements appeared graceful and noble. Even the simple action of her sitting gave people a feeling of solemn dignity. Furthermore, she possessed a certain warmth that truly made her seem like a gentle big sister. It was very comforting. "Senior, please have some tea." Mu Qingyun hastily poured a new cup of tea for her. Bai Shishir's mother nodded and smiled in thanks. After sipping it, she put down the cup and looked at Long Chen. "I'm very curious. If you can talk so well and are so skilled at grasping other people's thoughts, I'm sure many people will like you. To women especially, this fresh and yet dangerous feeling you have possesses fatal attraction. You've always been mysterious and women are all curious. I don't understand. These 3 beautiful women beside you all like you very much." At this point, Luo Bing, Mu Qingyun, and Luo Ning turned red. Luo Ning hastily cried out, I don't like him. Don't be anxious. Liking is liking. There's nothing embarrassing about it. I'm curious, Long Chen, do you have anyone on this flying boat that you like? Asked Bai Shirshi's mother. When she said this, everyone looked at Long Chen. What was going on? What was she trying to do? In the distance, young Master Changchuan tensed up. Even the meditating Bai Shirshi's face twitched. Yes. Long Chen thought about it and solemnly nodded. Can you tell us who? Asked Bai Shirshi's mother with a smile. Him. Long Chen pointed toward young Master Changchuan, enraging him. The meditating Bai Shirshir suddenly chortled, while Luo Bing and the others tried to hold back their laughter. It was unknown just how bitter it was to hold it back. Long Chen, I demand a duel. Raged young Master Changchuan. But I really do like you. Long Chen shrugged. You look very beautiful, so I like to look at you a bit more. There's no need to be so hostile. Young Master Changchuan's hostility lightened slightly, but he was still angry. He clearly thought that Long Chen was making fun of him. Young friend, you are being a bit disingenuous, said Bai Shirshir's mother with a smile that was not a smile. No, I'm very sincere. I always like beautiful things. Handsome brothers, beautiful women, I always like to look a bit longer at them. I can feel how beautiful life is at all times. As for what Senior is talking about, I'm not qualified to discuss it right now. Long Chen shook his head. Why aren't you qualified? Asked Bai Shirshir's mother. Long Chen bitterly smiled. He looked at the vague images speeding past them outside the window. Some things can't be stated clearly. Some principles also can't be discussed unequivocally. You asked me, but I can't answer. Of course he wasn't qualified. He couldn't even protect his women. How was he qualified to discuss liking others? If he had to watch as the woman he loved died in front of him while he was powerless, then how was he qualified to like others? Seeing Long Chen's gaze suddenly become pained, Luo Bing and the others were startled. They felt a pang of grief for him. They knew that Long Chen viewed them as family, not in the romantic sense. After being with him for so long, they had also come to sense the pain hidden in Long Chen's heart. Bai Shirshir's mother felt embarrassed. She originally just wanted to tease him a bit and play matchmaker between him and Bai Shirshir. That was due to her understanding of her daughter. Before Long Chen appeared, Bai Shirshir was constantly icy, revealing no emotion, neither joy nor rage. However, after Long Chen showed up, she went through more emotions, and Bai Shirshir's mother noticed that this was stimulating her bloodline power. The changes in her emotions were making her bloodline active, and in her current state, she might awaken a primal bloodline at any moment. Thus, even if she couldn't draw the two of them together as a couple, just having Bai Shirshir quarrel and bicker would also be a good thing. However, she hadn't expected to touch one of Long Chen's scars. She could tell that Long Chen had gone through something that left him deeply hurt. What he had gone through wasn't something someone his age should have to go through. Brother San, don't feel bad. Didn't you say that you would be able to quickly find those sister-in-laws? Mu Qingyun held Long Chen's hand. Long Chen took a deep breath. Rubbing his face with his hands, he tried to reinvigorate himself. He then smiled. Yes, everything will go well. This time, I will definitely build my fame. From the 9 Prefecture Convention, the name of Boss Long San will spread throughout the entire immortal world. Since you mentioned the 9 Prefecture Convention, let me give an introduction to some terrifying figures you will encounter there, said Bai Shirshir's mother to dispel the awkward atmosphere. Everyone's ears perked up. They all wanted to know what kind of opponents they would be fighting. She said, to tell the truth, in the past, the High Firmament Academy's rankings were always at the bottom. We haven't had many disciples manage to get into the top 100. Everyone was startled. Considering how powerful the High Firmament Academy was, just how was it possible that they couldn't even get into the top 100? Only Long Chen's gaze was flat. He had read about this. The High Firmament Academy truly wasn't that competitive. The reasons that our performance records are so lacking is partially because we truly have never had such a powerful expert, but the other reason is because many powers are not too friendly toward us. They have created a barrier to prevent the Academy's disciples from getting into the top 100. Everyone knows that anyone who enters the top 100 will get a bountiful reward, and they don't want the academy to enjoy that reward. They can do that? Isn't it said that the competition system is fair and the fighting rounds are based on drawing lots? Bai Shishir's mother shook her head. This world doesn't have anything absolutely fair. Furthermore, the lots are only drawn after the top 64 are decided. Outside the top 100, it is more than possible for them to control things. I will give you all a warning here. Although it is forbidden to maliciously kill people during the competition, the malicious part is truly willful. Whether or not someone is willfully killing someone else is decided by specific people. Due to not having good relations with other powers, you should immediately give up if you fight someone that you can't beat. Don't give them a chance to kill you. I'm going to tell you a few names that you should immediately admit defeat to if you end up matched against them. Long Chen's heart shook. They should directly admit defeat? What did that mean? They weren't even qualified to fight them? One of them is called Gui Yun. He comes from the Bloodkill Hall. According to the news from inside the Bloodkill Hall, he is the new, final disciple of their master, Enpuda. Enpuda announced that he wouldn't be accepting more disciples tens of thousands of years ago, but after encountering Gui Yun, he was willing to accept him as his apprentice. You can tell just how much Gui Yun's talent moved Enpuda. He's also an assassin and is a master of killing people in one blow. You should all know how our relationships with the Bloodkill Hall are, so if you encounter him, you should be able to imagine what would happen. Enpuda's disciple? Long Chen narrowed his eyes. He had a thought that perhaps he could obtain something useful from this person's body. If I kill him, will the academy be able to handle it? Asked Long Chen suddenly. Bai Shishir's mother was startled and then laughed. If you can kill him, the academy will naturally protect you. Within the High Firmament Academy, even if Enpuda came, he wouldn't dare to touch you. However, if you leave the academy, all the Bloodkill Hall's assassins will have their gazes on you. You won't have a moment of rest. Other than that, do you feel like you can kill a World King's disciple? He very likely possesses heaven-defying treasures. I don't care whose disciple he is. As long as the academy can endure it, I dare to kill them. Long Chen smiled slightly. He was already at the 9th heaven stage of the Divine Flame realm. As long as they were within the Divine Flame realm, he had no fear toward anyone. Lord Brahma's dogs had to be beaten to death. Someone is blocking our way? Everyone was startled. They were being robbed so quickly? Was that a challenge against the academy? Long Chen went to the front of the chariot and only saw mist. Whatever was happening, it was unclear. The mist was a strange tan color. Just as he looked into the depths, a scream rang out. The void was torn apart by a golden light, and a path was opened. However, blood splashed through that path, and this blood still contained immense pressure that shook his soul. This was the blood of a powerful expert. The celestial horse continued flying, quickly passing the region of mist. But they never saw who it was. They ran, asked Long Chen. If they didn't run, were they simply going to wait to be killed? Asked Bai Shishir's mother with a smile. Senior really is amazing. You're able to attack even through space, said Mu Qingyun with worship. It had to be known that she hadn't even formed hand seals. With just a thought, she was able to unleash such a terrifying attack? Was this not the realm that Long Chen had mentioned to Mu Qingyun? When the heart contained the sword, a single thought could kill enemies. At that time, she had thought that such a realm only existed in legends. However, Bai Shishir's mother had done so right in front of her, so she was overwhelmed with various emotions. At the same time, she felt even more admiration for Long Chen. He had spoken the truth. Bai Shishir's mother smiled at her. You are also very amazing. You've already reached the realm of sheathing your sword. You're not too far from the realm of keeping your sword in your heart. Once your heart and spirit merge, you will also be able to unleash this move. Because you are a pure sword cultivator, when you do, its power will be even greater. Mu Qingyun was shocked and delighted, amazed by her vision. Just before leaving, Long Chen had congratulated her, saying she had reached the realm of sheathing her sword, and that the door to the sword Dao had been opened by her. However, she didn't know what this meant. When she asked him, he merely said that there was no difference between knowing and not knowing, and that rather than someone else telling her, it would be better for her sword Dao to tell her. Now even Bai Shishir's mother told her that she had reached this realm, once more proving Long Chen's words and that she was on the right track. What's the point of being so amazing if you're just going to get married off to someone that can't even beat you? Especially when it's two women sharing one man, said the distant Bai Shishir frostily. Long Chen was startled. He suddenly found that Bai Shishir was dissatisfied with her mother's marriage to Bai Zhantong. Furthermore, from her tone, it seemed that Bai Zhantong's power was inferior to his wife. Bai Xiaola had mentioned that Bai Shishir looked down on all men, including her own father. However, Long Chen couldn't help finding it a bit comical. If her mother hadn't married her father, how would she have come to this world? Bai Shishir's mother seemed to be used to it and didn't get angry. She simply smiled. Are you saying that if someone wants to marry you, they first have to beat you? Laughed Long Chen. Young Master Changchuan couldn't help having some thoughts when he heard this. The one who wants to be my husband must be stronger than me and must be faithful for a lifetime. His world can only have one woman, said Bai Shishir frostily. Good thing I don't want to then, said Long Chen as if he was relieved. While this girl was pretty, she was a bit overbearing and extreme. Such behavior only allowed others to remain at a respectful distance. Humph, do you think a fickle-hearted man like you is rare? Snorted Bai Shishir. Long Chen shrugged and didn't reply. He then thought of Meng Qi, Chu Yang, Tang Wana, and the others. He couldn't help smiling. He truly was fickle. Marrying any one of them would be the fortune of many lifetimes, but he had so many. What else did he need? Brother Long, I was hot-headed before and was rude to you. I apologize. Suddenly, young Master Changchuan stood and bowed to Long Chen, stunning everyone. Long Chen couldn't help laughing. What? Do you no longer view me as a competitor? Let me tell you, as someone with more experience, there will be no conclusion between the two of you. Why not? If it was before, young Master Changchuan would instantly be enraged. But now he was consulting him with an open mind. Because none of you know what love is. You like her simply because you like beautiful things. If she one day loses her talent, her status, and her beauty, becoming a bloated fatty or unbearably ugly, would you still love her, protect her, and view her as more important than your life? Asked Long Chen. Young Master Changchuan wanted to say that he would, but it seemed that he really wouldn't. Love isn't an exchange between two families who want it, nor is it a match between a talented man and a beautiful woman. It is a sacrifice. It is something ingrained in your bones, a yearning that rots the heart. It is happiness and pain intertwined. It is the moth flying into the flame, and it is what can make you die 100 times with no regrets. Long Chen looked outside the window, his thoughts drifting away. Everyone was silent. Luo Bing, Luo Ning, and Mu Qingyun stared at Long Chen with a trace of yearning in their eyes. Was there really such a love in this world? Even the icy Bai Shishir was moved. However, she quickly turned frosty again and sneered, You put it so nicely, but you ended up with a whole harem. If you really loved them, why would you be so fickle-hearted? Loving more doesn't mean not loving deeply. Someone who has never tasted love will never know the bitterness and joy involved, said Long Chen indifferently. Just at this moment, the world turned dark, as if something was covering the sun. An immense pressure then crashed down upon them that made them turn ice-cold, as if they had been dropped into a glacier. Long Chen looked up. A black crow was flying past their heads, and its wingspan covered the sky. In comparison, the war chariot that they were in was incredibly minuscule. The illusion celestial horse was shockingly fast, but that black crow sped off like a shooting star. It quickly passed them. A 3-foot golden crow, exclaimed Long Chen. While the crow's body was black, its 2 claws were golden. Wouldn't a 3-foot golden crow have 3 feet? But it only had 2? Asked Luo Ning curiously. Long Chen said, the 3-foot part of its name refers to its 3 toes on each foot, not having 3 feet. It is similar to the 5-claw golden dragon. It doesn't have 5 claws but 5 toes on each claw. Except for the true dragon, other dragons only have 4 toes. This was new information to most people. So they had been misled by the name. I didn't expect that old golden crow monster to appear. It seems that his descendant is also attending the 9 Prefecture Convention. It will definitely be lively now, muttered Bai Shirshir's mother to herself as she stared in the direction the golden crow had gone. The illusion celestial horse passed by countless flying boats, war chariots, and mounts. It was also passed by others countless times. 3 days later, they arrived in an ancient city. We're here. Alright, then I'll discuss the second person. His name is Wuya, and he is a cultivator of the corpse Devil Dao. Or perhaps I should say that he isn't a person but an actual corpse. His cultivation style is extremely perverted and cruel. He consumes corpses as food, devouring their corpse qi. Hearing this, every expert present felt a chill. Luoning even had an urge to vomit. She could feel her stomach roiling. Corpse Devil Dao? I seem to have heard of it. Long Chen suddenly felt that he had heard of this on the Martial Heaven continent, but he didn't remember too clearly. Wuya? Are corpses bitter? So it's an endless sea of bitterness? Asked Long Chen. Brother San, you're making me nauseous. Originally, Mu Qingyun was still able to endure, but as soon as he said this, she almost vomited as well. Don't blame Long Chen. If you can't even endure this, you aren't qualified to participate in the 9 Prefecture Convention. The world that you've seen is too calm and peaceful. You've only seen the side that the sun shines on. But this world's shadow is far more disgusting and crueler than you can imagine. There will be countless heavenly geniuses at the 9 Prefecture Convention, and you will see all kinds of fighting styles that are completely unscrupulous. Be warned. Now, let us continue discussing Wuya. He has never faced defeat in his life. Just relying on his own power, he destroyed an entire sect. That sect was not inferior to the Golden Bell Gate at all, said Bai Shirshir's mother. What? Now it was Long Chen's turn to be shocked. Wuya was only in the Divine Flame realm, but he had destroyed a sect on par with the Golden Bell Gate? It had to be known that the only reason Long Chen had managed to destroy the Golden Bell Gate was thanks to Shi Tongtian. The Golden Bell Gate had a Divine Lord expert standing over it. For her to say that this sect was on par with it, they also had to have a Divine Lord expert. And this Wuya had actually managed to slay such a terrifying expert? Mortal Transcendence, Divine Flame, for peak, Divine Lord. That was an existence 2 major realms above him. The difference between them couldn't be explained with reason. Although Long Chen possessed the power to slay 4 peak experts, that was only ordinary 4 peak experts of average aptitude. If it was a heavenly genius who had reached the 4 peak realm, he wouldn't necessarily win. As for the master of a sect, even if they weren't a primal, they couldn't be lacking too much talent. Wuya had slain a talented expert 2 major realms above him? That was unbelievable. How did he kill them? Asked Long Chen. It's unclear. All that is known is that this person has countless moves, and all of them are vicious. Those who fought him all died without question. He has quite a reputation within the 9 prefectures, said Bai Shirshir's mother. Poison. Suddenly, young Master Changchuan opened his mouth, startling everyone. They all looked at him. This person controls corpse poison. On my way back to the academy, I ran into him and we fought. Everyone was shocked to hear this. He had actually fought against him and survived? Don't look at me. In that battle, I lost. My full moon race is said to be impervious to all poison, but I was still suppressed by his corpse poison. If it weren't due to my status, I might already be dead, said young Master Changchuan darkly. To be able to fight Wuya and survive, even if you were defeated, is very amazing, comforted Bai Shirshir's mother. She was a bit impressed that he was able to admit defeat. You're wrong. You weren't suppressed by his corpse poison but by his curse. His corpse poison contains the resentment of countless spirits, resulting in curse power. That curse will silently grind away at your will and destroy you from the inside. The longer the fight, the worse it gets. Think back to your battle. Did he say anything just to disturb your heart? Asked Long Chen. You're right. He did do that. Young Master Changchuan thought back to his fight. Wuya had truly provoked him with words, saying that he wasn't a match for him and infuriating him. "Brother San, how did you know?" asked Muqingyan. This was too monstrous. Even without witnessing it, he was able to guess such a thing. Long Chen shook his head. "I don't know if it's because I've encountered the corpse Devil Dao before or if I've read about it in the academy. I have an impression of it, but I don't know where it's from. I spent these months reading almost everything within the Divine Scripture Pavilion. They're all mixed inside, and the memories aren't organized. But my intuition is telling me that this should be the case." Right now, his head was truly packed with an unimaginable amount of knowledge. It was all muddled inside due to how much he had stuffed in. He needed to slowly digest it. However, when young Master Changchuan mentioned it, Long Chen instantly felt that he knew the true reason. So that's the case. The next time I encounter him, I'll go all out right from the start, ending the battle in just a few moves. I won't give him a chance to unleash his corpse poison. Young Master Changchuan clenched his fists, a sharp gaze in his eyes. "Many thanks." Unexpectedly, young Master Changchuan cupped his fists toward Long Chen to express his thanks. It seemed that his opinion of him had turned. "However, you still shouldn't be careless. Other than Gui Yun and Wuya, many other monstrous geniuses will be appearing at the 9 Prefecture Convention. At the 9 Prefecture Convention, you should focus on staying alive, not the rewards. The Academy won't give you any pressure. We just wish for you to return alive," said Bai Shishir's mother sternly. "I'm fine either way. I'm attending to exchange blows with other experts." "Victory or defeat isn't as important," said young Master Changchuan. Bai Shishir slowly opened her eyes and said, "This time, I must get into the top 10. Bai Shishir's mother frowned. That was far too difficult. Someone who hadn't even awakened a primal bloodline wouldn't be able to get into the top 10. It had to be known that in the past, the top 10 were always extremely monstrous existences. Even ordinary primals would have difficulty getting into the top 32, let alone the top 10. Bai Shishir's mother was saying this specifically for Bai Shishir, Long Chen, and young Master Changchuan. The others would definitely admit defeat if they encountered those supreme experts. But when it came to these 3, it really would be a battle to the death. "Long Chen, what about you?" asked Bai Shishir's mother. "Me? I won't demand too much. As long as I get the dragon scale, I don't care about ranking," said Long Chen very bashfully. "You want first place?" Bai Shishir's mother didn't dare to believe it. "But of course. Do you realize that the major powers have decided who to give the first place reward to? You won't be able to obtain it. That's also the reason why the High Firmament Academy doesn't fight for those rewards." Luo Bing and the others were startled. This was their first time hearing of such a thing. It seemed that the 9 Prefecture Convention actually had such a dark scheme behind it. "I know? So what? I have an old man who told me that in front of absolute power, all schemes are useless. That dragon scale must be obtained by me," said Long Chen with a smile. That smile also contained a trace of sinisterness. Just at this moment the chariot shook slightly. Bai Shishir's mother snorted. "Someone actually dares to block our way." The ancient city stood tall and mighty. The city gates, which stood as tall as the clouds, were packed with people coming and going. They were like ants moving through the streets. Also, an ancient aura exuded from this city. The celestial horse stopped far away from the city. After that, Long Chen and the others walked off, and countless gazes instantly turned toward them. These were all youngsters in the divine flame realm. Their gazes were full of provocation. They observed Long Chen and the others wantonly, as if looking for their weaknesses. These disciples were all competitors because the spectators were not yet welcome. They weren't even qualified to enter the city. These gazes were full of hostility when they looked at Long Chen and the others. It was only when they saw Bai Shishir that they had their breath taken away. Many of them waved in greeting toward her, but she ignored them. It wasn't just Bai Shishir who wasn't accepting any greetings. When young Master Changchuan came out, countless young maidens cried out adoringly. The ruckus was even a bit bigger than what Bai Shishir caused. However, young Master Changchuan seemed to be used to it and also ignored them. However, he didn't just draw over the adoring gazes of women but also the envious gazes of men. In the distance, some of those men were pointing at him, seeming to be provoking him. This was Luo Bing, Luo Ning, and Mu Qingyun's first time seeing such a vast spectacle. They were both moved and nervous. All of these people had powerful auras, like mountains and seas. They were all top experts. Here they felt themselves to be far too weak. Mu Qingyun was the most nervous of them all. She held Long Chen's arm, as if only he could give her a sense of safety. I said that your sword was sheathed to say that you have a sword. What are you afraid of? These are nothing more than some chicken with strong appearances. If you were to start fighting, you'd sweep through them with a single slash, said Long Chen. Her hand was covered in sweat. If he wasn't aware that she had never seen such a sight, he would have laughed. Really? Mu Qingyun didn't dare to believe it. You're lacking combat experience and are being misled by their outside appearances. That is a grave taboo of a sword cultivator. You should know that sword cultivators have the strongest intuition. It was right to bring you here. You need more combat experience to raise your confidence, said Long Chen. Even though Mu Qingyun had set foot into the realm of sword cultivators, she still gave off the feeling of a dabbler. Perhaps it was because Long Chen was lacking as an instructor. Or perhaps she wasn't that strongly attached to the sword Dao. Although to have reached this level from an ordinary disciple, it could already be said that she had soared like a shooting star. But Long Chen still felt that she was far too lacking compared to Yu Zifeng. Long Chen then looked around and found that there were millions of disciples here. This was an incredible number. He supposed that this was expected of the 9 prefectures' largest gathering. There were countless heavenly geniuses. The young disciples were just like Long Chen and were led by some senior experts. They lined up and registered here. Haha, the martial heaven prefecture's rank 1 high firmament academy only brought this few people? Have they simply given up? Just as they were appraising their surroundings, a group of people walked over to them. These people were all large with astonishing blood qi. It was possible to vaguely sense a hidden explosive power within them. They're starting already? Long Chen was surprised. Bai Shishir's mother had told them that the High Firmament Academy had suffered from other people crowding them out at the 9 prefecture convention. They had just arrived, but people already came to provoke them. There were over 70 people in this group. Their leader was a thin elder with a walking cane, which head was a carved tiger head roaring at the heavens. The elder's eyes were different from a normal person's. They were like a beast's, fierce and sharp, containing a bloodthirsty wildness. Bai Shishir's mother looked at the elder and spat out a single word. Scram. It was simple, direct, crude, and domineering. The elder smiled sinisterly. His gaze then swept across Long Chen and the others before falling on young Master Changchuan. So you have a primal? And he comes from a life-forbidden area. Has the High Firmament Academy fallen to the point that it requires outsiders to help win them glory? The disciples behind him sneered as he said this, their eyes seemingly mocking them. Old thing, you fart a lot. Are you trying to be my enemy? Asked young Master Changchuan coldly. No, no one would dare to provoke a life-forbidden area. I'm only targeting the High Firmament Academy, not you, said the elder. He actually dared to provoke the High Firmament Academy but not young Master Changchuan. Young Master Changchuan snorted and didn't say anything further. The elder continued to walk in front of Bai Shishir and nodded. Not bad. Your bloodline is pure and the fluctuations are strong. Although you haven't awakened a primal bloodline, it shouldn't be that far away for you. Girl, why don't you come to our Dark Tiger Alliance to grow? Scram. Just like her mother, Bai Shishir spat out a single word, not even bothering to waste more words on this dislikable fellow. The elder still didn't get angry. He smiled very pleased. When he came to Long Chen, he eyed him up and down. Just as he was about to speak, pow! Long Chen suddenly slapped him in the face. What are you looking at? Long Chen was as quick as lightning, striking without any warning. Considering their distance, even if the elder's cultivation base was amazing, he didn't have time to react. This was a resounding slap that was as loud as thunder. However, Long Chen's hand hurt from the impact. The elder's face was incredibly hard. It was like he had slapped metal. As a result, the elder flipped through the air a few times. Teeth and blood flew through the air. The disturbance caused everyone to jump. The bustling crowd fell silent as everyone turned to stare in astonishment. You didn't investigate who Boss Long San was before daring to look at him? Let's see if Boss Long San can beat your yokes out. Long Chun pointed and cursed at the elder, bending his arm as if he was preparing to strike him again. As he said this, he cast a look at Bai Xiaola and the others. But Bai Xiaola's head wasn't too agile, so he didn't understand what he meant. It was Luo Bing who was smart, so she, Luo Ning, and Mu Qingyun hastily held him back. Long Chen acted as if he was struggling to break free. He then cursed the elder once more. Stop holding me back. In all my years, I've never suffered such a grievance. Old fellow, try to take another look and see what happens. Everyone was dumbfounded. Just who was this youngster? Was he really so amazing? The one leading each group was a member of the senior generation. Their cultivation bases were at least above the Divine Lord realm. However, this youngster dared to strike such a terrifying expert. Even Bai Shishir hadn't expected Long Chen to be so brazen as to attack such an existence. As for Bai Shishir's mother, looking at Long Chen's incredibly exaggerated aggrieved expression, she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Before leaving, the dean had personally told her to look after Long Chen and not let him be too arrogant, as that wasn't in accordance with the academy style. However, before she could even say something, Long Chen had done something like this. Moreover, the person he had slapped was not some random elder but precisely the leader of the Dark Tiger Alliance. That alliance head was sent flying back as Long Chen didn't hold back with this slap. As he spun through the air, stars also spun in his eyes. He couldn't tell east from west, north from south. Brat, you're courting death. When he finally recovered, the alliance head stretched his claw forward. Senior, it wasn't me dash. It just so happened that there was a black-robed man standing in front of him, and seeing the alliance head attack him, the man screamed in terror, almost pissing himself. That alliance head was startled. He was facing the wrong direction and was still too befuddled to even recognize the right person. Everyone watching almost laughed. Seeing that he had targeted the wrong person, and seeing everyone's strange gazes, the alliance head grew even more infuriated. He turned to see Long Chen looking as if he wanted to fight him, and his eyes instantly turned scarlet. However, just as he was about to attack, Bai Shishir's mother stepped between them, coldly saying, "You should know who I am, and you should know my temper. I don't want to waste extra words. If you dare to touch my academy's disciples, you won't see tomorrow's sun." Bai Shishir's mother stood there, her gaze flat. But her words shocked countless people. Just who was this person? She was so domineering that she actually dared to say that she would kill this alliance head. The alliance head was so infuriated that flames almost burst out of him. As for the disciples behind him, they had taken out their weapons. Both of you can stop before you go too far. This place is the Donghua Prefecture's Silver Moon City, not your own territory. If anyone in the Divine Lord realm and above starts fighting here, it will implicate the disciples. Your disciples then will lose their right to participate in the 9 Prefecture Convention. A voice drifted over from inside the city. The disturbance had also drawn their attention. Upon hearing it, the alliance head's anger turned into a simmering rage. As for Long Chen, his gaze suddenly flickered. Bypassing Bai Shishir's mother, he once more slapped the alliance head just as he calmed down. Who said you could not wear a hat? Pow! The Dark Tiger Alliance's alliance head had suppressed his fury due to the warning, and not expecting an attack, he was slapped through the air by Long Chen once more. Previously, everyone had only heard the sound of Long Chen's slap. This time, they personally witnessed it. Everyone let out a startled cry. The alliance head was slapped around like a dog. Also, Long Chen's movements were natural and graceful. They didn't seem all too fast, so why was he still able to land his blows? Long Chen, even Bai Shishir's mother hadn't expected Long Chen to do such a thing. Just what was he thinking? The most ridiculous part was that this seemingly ordinary slap couldn't be avoided. Intolerable! The alliance head roared, a terrifying pressure rising out of him. Seeing this, everyone around him hastily fled in fear. He seemed to have gone mad. Who let you randomly shout? As everyone else retreated, Long Chen advanced. Another slap landed on the Alliance head's face. But this time, although it landed, the one sent flying was Long Chen. Long Chen's palm was bleeding. The Alliance head had unleashed his cultivation base and summoned a protective layer of divine light. Most of Long Chen's power was reflected by it. A divine lord expert was truly terrifying. However, Long Chen's slap also wasn't something that an ordinary person could endure. The Alliance head's roar was interrupted midway, leaving people dumbfounded. That senior said that no divine lord experts can attack. If you attack me, the Dark Tiger Alliance's disciples will lose their qualifications to participate in the convention. Let me ask you, if I keep hitting you, do you even dare to attack back? Just to be sure though, Long Chen hid behind by Shirshir's mother. That evil chortle was the very picture of him daring someone to come beat him. The Alliance head suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood, not from being injured, but from anger. A bout of dizziness made him sway. If it weren't for the disciples behind him helping him, he might have collapsed. The great master of the Dark Tiger Alliance, an almighty divine lord expert, someone who could turn mountains and empty seas with a wave of his hand, had actually been angered to this extent. What a pitiful sight. Brat, you're making trouble? Although there is no express rule preventing Divine Flame Realm disciples from attacking Divine Lord experts, if you don't reserve yourself, I can still cancel your qualifications due to disturbing the peace. The elder's voice from within the castle rang out once more. The 9 Prefecture Convention had its own rules, but those rules expressly forbade disciples from fighting, the senior elders leading the groups from fighting, and then those leaders attacking the disciples. There was no rule for disciples attacking Divine Lord experts. Throughout the convention's history, no such disciple had dared to do such a thing. But today, Long Chen had set the precedent. Since it was the precedent, that person could only give a warning and no actual punishment. Is that so? I understand. Many thanks. Long Chen cupped his fists. In other words, things would end here. He had gotten 3 free slaps. That blessed smile of his was truly deserving of a slap. Even the cold by Shirshir couldn't help laughing. So there was such a marvel in this world. You attacked first. Apologize to the other side, said the elder's voice from the city. Apologize? Long Chen's gaze turned cold for a moment, but he then smiled. Walking over to the Dark Tiger Alliance's leader, Long Chen patted him on the shoulder. Brother, my apologies. But you can't blame me. Who told you to have such a slutty mouth that's constantly spouting crap? That's why you should take this lesson earnestly and properly brush your teeth. Wash your heart and renew your face. Become a new person. After all, you're still young. You have a long road ahead of you. Every loss you suffer is actually gaining wisdom, and that's good for you. But you don't need to thank me. After all, this is the tireless, sacred mission of an instructor. The Alliance head's blood was roiling inside of him. Finally, Long Chen's apology caused that blood to rush to his head. He then coughed up a mouthful of blood and fainted. The surrounding people stared at Long Chen in stunned silence. Just where did this person come from to be so brazen? He dared to slap the face of a Divine Lord expert and even made him faint from anger. Report your name. Get on stage. I challenge you to a battle to the death. One of the disciples of the Dark Tiger Alliance roared, divine light suddenly erupting from his body. After that, a tiger roar came from within that light. It's actually an awakened primal. Long Chen indifferently smiled. He swaggered over to him and turned his head back, looking down on him. All of you stand steady. My surname is Long, and my given name is Chen. Everyone in my home calls me Boss Long San. I am from the High Firmament Academy. I don't mind telling you that Boss Long San came here to become famous. Anyone who doesn't like it, step onto the martial stage. Boss Long San will accept any challenge. Long Chen had completely changed from his previous low-key act. Luo Bing and the others were all befuddled. Was this really the Long Chen that they knew? Brat, you're crazy. Too arrogant. Take care to not ruin yourself in the search for fame. When the heavens are wild, it rains. When a person is wild, calamity descends. Take care to not die here. Even before the Dark Tiger Alliance's people spoke, the people in the crowd began to curse Long Chen. If it weren't for the rules, they would probably have attacked. After all, these people were all outstanding heavenly geniuses in their own right, who didn't have a bit of arrogance. None of them viewed themselves as inferior, so Long Chen had essentially challenged all of them. You think that just this is arrogance? What frogs at the bottom of a well? Don't be anxious. Boss Long San will soon show you what true arrogance is, said Long Chen, his gaze sweeping over the crowd disdainfully. Long Chen had originally just been acting arrogant on purpose. But now he found that acting this way was truly refreshing. Toward the end, it wasn't even an act. At this time, he found that he simply wasn't someone who could be low-key. Seeing their gazes full of rage, yet being unable to do anything, he felt incredibly comfortable inside. Fuck, I was stuck watching other people act arrogant all this time. It's finally my turn. Long Chen was refreshed inside. Boss is mighty and domineering. Seeing Long Chen looking so unrivaled even amongst all these heavenly geniuses, Bai Xiaola cried out worshipfully. Low-key, hee ha. Even as he muttered about being low-key, that pleased expression of his made people want to throttle him. Bai Shishir's mother was speechless. They had just arrived at Silver Moon City, and things had gone out of control. Long Chen had managed to draw hate from everyone. What was going on with this child? He was normally so smart, but now he became an idiot. These experts glared at Long Chen and replied with various provoking gestures and expressions. However, Long Chen continued to simply look down on them, driving them crazy. Luo Bing and the others didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They felt that this Long Chen was quite unusual. Luo Ning couldn't help asking him why he was acting so arrogant. Long Chen's reply was, "My creed in life is to never bully the weak. I have to bully the strong. And just look, there are so many strong people around. If I don't bully them now, what will I have learned all these abilities for?" Luo Bing and the others were speechless. But thinking back, Long Chen had never put on airs with them. Nor would he suppress the weak to make his own status appear grander. However, here he seemed to go out of control. It was as if he wanted to challenge all the 9 prefectures' heavenly geniuses on his own. It was as if he felt that this world couldn't contain him. Countless sharp gazes pierced him. If looks could kill, he would have long since been turned to dust. However, Long Chen ignored them. In line, he took out a crystal cup and poured some wine for himself, drinking as he waited. His gaze continued to roam, as if everything here was his territory. It was almost like he was marking his territory. Bai Xiaola immediately started learning from him, taking out his own cup of wine and swaggering behind Long Chen. It really was a good imitation. The two of them were like 2 ducks waddling through the crowd. That appearance made even the icy Bai Shishir sneak a laugh, while Luo Ning was already crying from laughter. However, while they laughed, the others were glaring at Long Chen. Veins throbbed on their foreheads. This child. Bai Shishir's mother didn't know what Long Chen was doing. But with her understanding of Long Chen, she knew that he had his own goal. It was just that Bai Xiaola was now foolishly following him. That happy expression of his made Bai Shishir's mother unable to hold back a smile. Her smile also contained some gratification. Due to his innate issue, in order for his bloodline to not be crippled, Bai Zhantong had used violent means to clear his channels and help him advance. Bai Xiaola had spent so many years growing up under the fear of violence. Just as Long Chen said, he was very rebellious and felt inferior due to this. It could already be considered a heart devil. However, the current Bai Xiaola didn't seem that way at all. It had only been a few months since he had activated his 3 flower pupils. In just this short time, Long Chen had dragged him out of his heart devil, and his bloodline was quickly awakening. Long Chen was truly capable of miracles. "Brother San, stop swaggering. You're making me dizzy," said Mu Qingyun with a bitter smile. The two of them showed no signs of stopping even after a long time. "It's fine. If you're dizzy, then they'll be even dizzier. 4 millions of people to accompany you, we're clearly profiting. To tell the truth, I'm getting dizzy and tired too, but seeing their expressions, everything is worth it, whispered Long Chen. He continued swaggering around. Luo Bing and the others laughed. Seeing the furious gazes from everyone, seeing those gazes follow Long Chen wherever he went, they started to feel it was even funnier. Due to the number of people here, it was taking quite a bit of time to enter the city. Everyone had to show their status plates before they were allowed in. After half a day, when they were under 10 miles from the city gates, a pack of people had lined up behind them. The scene was even more chaotic and bustling than before. However, at this time, a path suddenly opened amongst the crowd. A group of people walked through arrogantly, entering the city without lining up. What is going on? Luo Bing and the others were startled. Just what kind of people were given such privilege? According to the 9 prefecture convention's customs, if a disciple reaches the top 8, then during the next convention, the sects that they're from don't need to line up and register. They can directly enter Silver Moon City, said by Shershir's mother. Clearly, these people were from a sect that had gotten into the top 8 during the last 9 prefecture convention. Silver Moon City? Asked Long Chen. Yes, Silver Moon City. You're not hearing wrong. But this is the true Silver Moon City. As for the disciples of the Silver Moon City that you encountered in the Jalan Immortal Land, they are simply named after this place, said by Shershir's mother. Are the two connected? Yes, but not very closely. The Martial Heaven Prefecture's Silver Moon City is nothing more than a branch of this place. They can be considered a subordinate. They pay tribute to the Donghua Prefecture's Silver Moon City every year, but the real Silver Moon City doesn't really care about them. To put it frankly, they are simply using the name of Silver Moon City. There are actually many forces like them with this name, but anyone who uses this name must pay tribute to the real Silver Moon City. As for why Silver Moon City would permit others to use their name, no one knows. But at the very least, they are making a large sum every year from the tributes, said by Shershir's mother. For a pack of dogs to be randomly running amok, there's no way that they don't have the tacit acceptance of their master. It seems that this Silver Moon City also won't treat us well. Long Chen curled his lips. That is natural. That's why I told you that it's impossible for us to take first place. To put simply, the 9 prefecture convention is composed of all the large powers within the 9 prefectures paying to hold a grand gathering. All these resources are piled up by the powers of the 9 prefectures, and then whoever has the ability gets to take them. Luo Bing couldn't help interjecting, then doesn't that mean that many sects are simply paying money every time without getting anything? Correct. There are millions of sects, all famous and powerful within the 9 prefectures. But only the geniuses who get into the top 100 can get rewards. Your odds of victory are as low as possible. Powers that can enter the top 100 all have incomparably profound foundations, so they get the rewards almost every time. As for the rest, they can only clench their teeth. There is no other option. If they don't participate, their reputation will crumble and they will fall to second-rate sects and have difficulty recruiting any disciples. They would sooner or later decline. Thus, most sects came for face and fame. Second-rate sects aren't even qualified to be invited to attend. If you do get invited, then even if you have no money, you would have to come up with it somehow, said by Shershir's mother. When she explained it like this, everyone came to understand that this was all an exercise for poor people to look like rich people. It was quite the con. Isn't it very risky to trust so much money to the 9 prefecture convention to safeguard? What if they simply pocket it? Asked Long Chen. That's not a worry. All the wealth involved is entrusted to the Huayun Trading Company. The Huayun Trading Company is the most trusted commerce business in the entire immortal world, said by Shershir's mother. The Huayun Trading Company? Long Chen was shocked. The creator of the Huayun Trading Company was the wealth god, an extremely mysterious existence. No one knew his true identity. The Martial Heaven Continent's Huayun sect was composed of his followers, and Long Chen had always been thinking about how to find the Huayun Trading Company. He wanted to find Zheng Wenlong's whereabouts. However, he hadn't expected the wealth of this 9 prefecture convention to be managed by the Huayun Trading Company. When the martial heaven continent was destroyed by Lord Brahma, the dragon expert brought the innocent commoners away. But those qualified to ascend had been sent to the immortal world. In other words, Zheng Wenlong and the others were definitely in the immortal world. If he could find Zheng Wenlong and start a cooperation with the Huayan Trading Company, then the things in his hands that couldn't see the light of day could finally be exchanged for treasures that he needed. That would quicken his cultivation speed. However, the Huayan Trading Company was incredibly high-end here compared to the martial heaven continent. An ordinary sect wasn't qualified to interact with them. Even the High Firmament Academy would only undergo a business exchange with the Huayan Trading Company once every few years. Since the trading hadn't reached a certain limit, the Huayan Trading Company didn't welcome them that much. Senior, can you help introduce me to the Huayan sect's people? This matter is very important to me, said Long Chen. Scram, you blind dash, someone suddenly shoved him, and without thinking, Long Chen slapped them. As a result, that person tumbled across the ground. Only then did Long Chen remember that he couldn't attack people. Just now, he had struck entirely due to instinct. He pushed me first. Long Chen shouted to express his innocence. He had been warned once, and he didn't want to have his qualifications revoked. Just as Long Chen and the others were talking, the group next to them walked over. Originally, they should have been walking beside them, but whether it was intentional or not, they ended up taking a turn, ending up right in front of Long Chen and the others. While everyone else had come to a stop, Long Chen was thinking of Zheng Wenlong's matter and wasn't paying attention to them. Seeing Long Chen not get out of the way, this person pushed him, only for Long Chen to slap him out of reflex. That disciple was enraged. He crawled up and roared but was held back from attacking by the others beside him. If such a thing occurs again, then it doesn't matter who is right or wrong. You will all be stripped of your qualifications. The elder's angry shout came from inside the city again. Clearly, he was capable of overseeing everything here clearly. Brat, just wait. Don't let me encounter you on the martial stage, or I'll kill you. That disciple spat out some blood and glared at Long Chen. After hearing the elder's words, Long Chen was put at ease. He immediately cloaked himself in arrogance again. Looking down on that person, he disdainfully demanded, "You seem dissatisfied with me? What is this path yours? Why should I get out of your way? I've seen arrogant people, but I've never seen someone more arrogant than me. If you don't like it, let's find a place to train with no one else present. Let's see if Boss Long San can beat the crap out of you." You. That person was enraged. He still had a handprint on his face. Luo Hao, give it up. Take note of your status. What is there to quibble about with a group of clowns that couldn't even gather 100 experts? Suddenly, a man walked out of the ground. He had shoulder-length hair that was a rare brown color, and his bloodline fluctuations were extremely intense. A primal. Luo Bing and the others were shocked. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.